It's really simple to make finding cheap motor insurance easier. You just go to mustard.co.uk. They compare policies from leading insurance providers to find you quotes that really do cut the mustard. Plus, with their cheapest online price guarantee, why go anywhere else? Make finding cheap motor insurance easier. Compare today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Details online. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard Podcast with Taggart's Volvo. Order today. No deposit or hidden costs with Care by Volvo, the flexible car subscription. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard as we welcome back domestic football after another bumper week of European action. No Callum McGregor for Celtic as they look to stretch their lead at the top with a trip to St Johnstone. Rangers will have the chance to respond later when they welcome St Mirren. Livy Ross County, Hibs Motherwell and Dundee United Aberdeen make up your Saturday offering with one game still to come tomorrow. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me this afternoon you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Celtic 1 win in 5 going into this game at Perth, and without the captain, the leader, the inspiration, Callum McGregor. But what about this for a call to arms from Ange Postecoglou? He says comfortable keeps you in the same place. You need to be uncomfortable. You need to push yourselves. That is how you create something special. The manager has thrown down the gauntlet.
Looking forward to today. It's always interesting when you see Celtic and Rangers coming off the European exploits in the Champions League. You get not much games harder than that, and it's difficult when you've got a lunchtime kickoff. Over to Celtic first, their chance to go further ahead in the league, and then over to Rangers later on at home to St Mirren, which should be a more straightforward afternoon. Yeah, and a lot of other good games in there, so good afternoon ahead.
Yeah, I like the boys looking at the fixture list. I'm sure the boys round about the grounds will be desperate for goals this afternoon. I think they'll certainly get that. We're looking at the pictures coming in from Perth. Sunshine there, pitch looks decent. Great game to start with, and then the 3 o'clock kickoffs to finish.
Now we know already the one headline piece of team news is that there's no Callum McGregor because he was spotted heading off to see a specialist with the knee brace on. We don't yet know what the outcome of that is, but how does Ange Postecoglou plug the gap in midfield? Who wears the captain's armband? All these types of questions about to be answered by Andrew McLean.
Yeah, indeed, you mentioned it there, all those questions, and I think Ange Postecoglou's selection will definitely get you all talking as well. People wondered whether it would be Aaron Moy going in there, whether it would be Oliver Abildgaard. I can tell you it's none of them. Ange Postecoglou has gone for another attacking body in there, which means Haksabanovic, Abada, Jota and Giakoumakis all play together.
We know that it's not a direct replacement, if you like, for Callum McGregor. Bit of shuffling around from Ange Postecoglou, Mark Wilson. So Giakoumakis plays, Haksabanovic, Jota, Abada, they're all in there.
Yeah.
What do you make of that from Ange Postecoglou?
Well, it's a bold move. It shows Ange Postecoglou's intent, and you just wonder if it comes with a slight tweak of shape as well. If it's more a 4-2-3-1 rather than the 4-3-3, where you had Callum McGregor just sitting at the base of that and allowing O'Reilly and Hatate to go ahead and do their stuff. But certainly interesting. McDiarmid Park is always a place that Celtic have flourished, and you just wonder if that comes into the thing. It's a big wide open pitch, exciting stuff.
Well, let's see if it's, sorry Hugh, let's just see if it still sounds dodgy here at McDiarmid Park. Andrew, have you got us to go through that Celtic team?
So for Celtic, Joe Hart starting in goal for them. It's a back four of Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Stephen Welsh and Alexandro Bernabe. Then it'll be interesting if it is a change of shape, if it is Rio Hatate and Matt O'Reilly, the two central midfielders, with Leila Bada, Sead Haksabanovic and Jota in behind Giorgos Giakoumakis. The substitutes for Celtic: Bain, Siegrist, Kyogo, Moy, Maida, Forrest and Juranovic.
What do you make of that, Hugh Keevins?
When you're off the back of a fairly comprehensive defeat against RB Leipzig, but for 2 VAR decisions it could have been 5-1 against Celtic, and then you hear the bad news about your captain Callum McGregor when the manager says it's not a short-term injury, there's ample room there for people to indulge in self-pity. But Ange Postecoglou has made it clear by his team selection and by his words He's challenging every player who starts the game at McDiarmid Park today in a Celtic jersey to man up, basically, to get about their business and to increase their lead at the top of the league table to 5 points prior to Rangers playing St Mirren at Ibrox. No self-pity, no room for anything other than what he said in his pre-match conference. You need to be uncomfortable. You need to push yourselves.
Gordon, Ange Postecoglou is gone for a very attacking lineup by the looks of it.
Like it, I really do. I think it'll be a very attractive game. He's obviously going after the goals, Gordon. Everybody keeps saying it. The only way he knows how to play. He's very attack minded. He could easily sat at a midfield player in there, but he's decided to go with another attacking player. If you're Callum Davis and you're thinking, right, okay, they've got lost McGregor, the captain, one or two maybe struggling for the other night, they might come here and sit in and just play on the counter and go and put heart is that way. And then you look at that team sheet, every single player in that park, and even if you look at Carter Vickers at set plays, Welsh can up there, every single player's an attacking minded player. Even Joe Hart comes out nearly at the halfway line. So I think there'll be plenty of goals for Celtic today. I like that team.
The big news injury wise prior to Callum McGregor was Cameron Carter Vickers, Mark. He's the one that Celtic fans really wanted back for the Leipzig game. It came too early for him, but he does return today. How important is he?
Hugely important. I think when he's now missing for that Celtic backline, it makes a huge difference. His presence is certainly missed, but his composure on the ball and how he defends his box, Daz mentioned in both boxes actually, hugely beneficial to Celtic. So that's a big one. But you look across that back four, now the midfield get the headlines because we're thinking how attacking's that, but two different fullbacks as well, so a totally different look to it to what was put out midweek. Ralston never let Ange Postecoglou down. Bernabe, well, we've hardly seen anything of him, but no doubt about it, the mainstay or the pillar in that back line is Carter Vickers, and Ange Postecoglou will be delighted to have him back.
Are you surprised, Gordon, that he didn't go for a more like for like Callum McGregor replacement? Maybe it does come too early for Abildgaard. Maybe the fact that Moy had been struggling and Turnbull had been struggling, maybe the hand was forced. We'll never really know, but or maybe it is. No,
surprise, no, not at all. I like the way I said the other night, Gordon, as much as people maybe sometimes question the attacking style of Celtic in Europe, I love watching Celtic in Europe with the way they go about their business. They create chances, teams have got to create chances against them. They're so confident in their own ability. They're confident in the players. They've went up there. He's looked at his squad and thought, okay, I'm going to have a real go here this afternoon. I'm going to get attacking players. I'm going for goals. I'm going to win this game convincingly. That's what the Celtic fans have bought into.
And if this is the start of life without Callum McGregor, Hugh, they better get used to it, because Ange Postecoglou has just confirmed to Sky on television that Callum McGregor will be out until after the World Cup.
Yeah, well, that's a great pity for Callum McGregor. It's football's law of averages coming into play here. Callum McGregor is always spoken of in relation to playing so many games, season after season, and then one bad injury in Germany puts him out for a long period of time. Now, as I said, he is a leader of men. Celtic need every player to rise to this occasion and to prove that the loss of Callum McGregor doesn't mean the loss of momentum and the loss of progressing in the championship race. So it's up to these Celtic players, and Ange Postecoglou has challenged them, and they have players who are more than capable of winning this game. They have to go out there and assert themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that list, Mark Wilson, between now and then. Now, maybe it's, I'm not going to say it's the ideal season for it, but it helps because there is that big World Cup break. But there's still a lot of fixtures crammed in before then. St Johnstone today, obviously, RB Leipzig. I mean, I wouldn't even run through them all, but before the World Cup there's important league games. There's Shakhtar at home, there's Real Madrid away, there is
Hearts in there, there's Motherwell Hibs.
Yeah, trip to Hearts, trip to Motherwell, 17th of December, trip to Aberdeen. So that's after the World Cup. So it's a fair old list to be missing.
Yeah, you're right. And it, especially those Champions League games, because I think it's still in the balance for Celtic to progress at that stage, and he is vital in those games. His experience and how he controls possession for the team, it builds everything going forward for them. So it's huge. But you're right, there is a gap there that he can take his time maybe and get his rehab right.
Although it is only an indication, Gordon. I remember thinking this with regards to, was it maybe Tom Lawrence or something similar, when we say out until after the World Cup, that doesn't necessarily mean that come the 17th of December Callum McGregor's going to be fit and raring to go and starts the it's after the World Cup. It didn't say the very first game after, so it might be a bit longer than that.
I'm sure everybody will be hoping he's back as quickly as possible. But going back to the loss of McGregor, I think McGregor, like everybody else, will be a big loss to Celtic. Of course he will, but I think it will be in the Champions League, where you want your best players. He's a captain, he's a leader, and he's up there with the best player at the club, there's no doubt. But domestic football, I look at this squad and I think that they'll get away without Callum McGregor. No problem at all. I think there's guys, I'm looking forward to this today, to see this attacking lineup. But you've got games maybe against Rangers, for instance. But the rest of the games for me in this domestic, I think that Celtic have got. That's why they brought in these players, quality players, midfield players that are waiting for an opportunity to go and get a chance. And this is our opportunity coming up now.
I think Gordon makes a bold statement by saying they'll get over the loss of McGregor. No problem at all.
Domestically, Hugh.
Yeah.
I'm talking domestically. I think that Celtic, with the squad that they've got, the quality they've got, can afford. Look, it's not right to you want your best players, of course, but he's out. But I don't think Postecoglou will be panicking, thinking, oh, hold on a minute, I've nobody in there to replace him. They've got abundance of talent in the middle of the park.
I fully appreciate that. Now we have to see if they have the strength of temperament to rise above the loss of McGregor. They are talented on an individual and collective basis, but for the first time in I don't know how long, because I can't remember the last time Callum McGregor missed a match. For the first time, they're being asked to go and do it without him, and we'll see what they do in Perth.
Well, I think there's a massive problem at Celtic if they can't go to Perth today without Callum McGregor and win. I'm sorry, I disagree with that. I totally think that Celtic have brought in a squad capable. Look, it's not nice, the boy's a brilliant player, we know that.
It's just important to always remember domestically what the opposition situation find themselves in. Callum Davidson doesn't have the luxury of bringing in a multi-million pound international replacement. That's what Celtic will do in most positions.
And you look at the other ones that could have been available today, come in, for instance, Turnbull and boys like that, Moy, these boys, you've got an abundance of international footballers. I totally take
you're also
on board.
You're talking James McCarthy wouldn't even come into the conversation, but he walks into the St Johnstone team
100%. Now I take on board everybody's. McGregor will be a big miss, he's been there, he's a captain. I totally take that on board, and he will be. But domestically, I'm talking here. Europe, it's a massive blow because you want your best players, of course you do. But domestically, these guys that have been sitting in the background waiting for an opportunity, well, Postecoglou will now say, here's your opportunity.
That said, Mark, the most common obstacle our big two come up against is when teams sit in against them and sit deep, and you need that deepest lying midfielder of yours to really make decisions quick and move the ball quick. So that'll be the challenge for whoever it is to do that. And that's where you would see where Hugh's coming from, because it's all right saying you've got better players, but sometimes when you change, football doesn't always work out that way.
And sometimes you just need someone who knows the landscape, who's been there and done it, who know when teams are sitting in and making it hard for you, that's what's needed, Gordon. Because some players, although they're internationalists and top class, they don't understand the urgency required time and time again. McGregor brings that. Now, I was astonished the other night when we had the caller saying McGregor doesn't pass the ball forward. You only have to go back to last week's game where he gets the ball, drives, and Celtic get the first goal for it. And that's what he brings. Now, I agree with Daz. There is an abundance of players there, and it's a bit of a statement that McCarthy and Abelgard are sitting on the bench and not getting a look in today.
That said, though, we had this discussion last night. Hugh certainly agreed, and Kenny was pretty much there as well. If you were Ange Postecoglou, sorry Celtic fans at the thought, and you were to safeguard one player in your team, there's one player that you can prevent from ever being missing, would it be Callum McGregor?
Pretty much for me, yeah.
Right now I would probably say it's Carter Vickers for me.
He was second on Kenny's list, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he's so important to the back line, I really do.
All of this represents an unanswered question. Whether it's you'd rather be without Callum McGregor or Cameron Carter Vickers. We have what we have. Carter Vickers is there and he's the captain. McGregor is not there and will not be there for weeks and weeks. Therefore, it's an unanswered question at 12:30. At 2:30 we know the answer, but it's up to the players to sit the examination and provide us with the answer.
Well, to a point though, because Ange Postecoglou he'd argue against that and say that you can't have everything dictated to by the results. There's every chance that Celtic's midfield doesn't work today but they win the game, or flip side, they don't win the game but it's got nothing to do with the midfield. It's not always a direct link, is there?
Possibly, but there's only one way you determine who the title winner will be. That's results.
I know that. Andrew, we'll give him one more go. Let's see if the signal holds up enough to give us the St Johnstone team.
2 changes for St Johnstone. May and Crawford drop out. Kucheriavi and Clark come in. In goal it's Remy Matthews. The back 3, Alex Mitchell, Liam Gordon and Andy Considine. Dre Wright and James Brown are the 2 wing backs. The 3 central midfielders, Ryan McGowan, Melker Hallberg and Max Kucheriavi. It's Jamie Murphy supporting Nicky Clark up top. The substitutes: Parish, May, Crawford, Gallagher, Phillips, Bair, O'Halloran, McLennan and Wotherspoon.
There we go, we got through that nice and easy. Look, it's the age-old challenge, Gordon. You are St Johnstone, much like most of the other teams in that league, and you, in terms of, you know where you're at, you know that you're going to need to be bang at it and Celtic are going to need to be off it, and you might need to take a little bit of luck here and there. St Johnstone had been on a good little mini run. They then went to Kilmarnock during the week and lost. How do you see them in terms of being an obstacle to Celtic today?
I think they'll set up, they'll have a game plan, Gordon. They'll look at that Celtic team. Now, you always think midweek Champions League, would that have taken about out Celtic? Celtic have made 6 changes today, so I wouldn't be looking down that road. And it's good quality players that have come in, guys that can certainly do the job. They've got to be defensively tight, because you look at that midfield, you look at the front line, there's goals, their movement, their pace, everything. Full backs getting down the flanks, putting balls in. They've got to be disciplined today. And when they get the ball, like most teams, if you're under a cosh, you have got to be brave in the ball and keep the ball and try and get as many passes as the ball as you can and take the sting out of the game. So it's got to be a disciplined performance for me.
Yeah, I mean, it does look a very defensive setup, Mark. If Andrew's talking about Wright, Mitchell and Gordon as being 3 centre Mitchell, Gordon and Considine as being the 3 centre backs, with Wright and Brown providing the width to that defence, then Ryan McGowan, we know Ryan McGowan as a defender, so he goes in there into midfield with Hallberg, who's also a defensive midfield player. So it looks like that will be the main challenge for Celtic to break that down.
Yeah, I think you can see that they're going to make it difficult, particularly around their own box. Even at set pieces, there's a good bit of physicality in that St Johnstone side. But when you look at Murphy and Clark as well, right on that right hand side, although a wing back, I mean, blistering pace. So Callum Davidson will look for some sort of momentum going forward when they get the ball, and that's the key. If they play 2 up against Carter Vickers and Welsh, then they might come to regret it, because that midfield 3 or 5, whatever you want, a Celtic can cut you open really quickly.
And every now and then, Hugh, a story comes along that reminds you that despite the way we go on Monday to Friday 6 till 8, some things are a bit more important than football, believe it or not. And you look at Max Kucheriavi, 20-year-old, he's never started a game for St Johnstone before. He starts today. All the while, his family are back home in Ukraine. They've had to flee their home. He spoke during the week, he gave an interview talking about not being able to sleep, constantly checking his phone, making sure they're okay. He's now been out and about in the local area, meeting refugees and doing things that he can in the Perth area. And then he's got a massive football occasion for him today as well. It's great to see.
All I can hope is that the football occasion temporarily takes his mind off what's happening in his homeland. I cannot begin to imagine what someone from Ukraine living in Scotland would be going through with his family in Ukraine during a war. So I can only wish him all the very best, and on a personal level hope that for a while he can be trouble free in his mind.
Yep, absolutely. We wish him well this afternoon. St Johnstone taking on Celtic. As we mentioned, of course, there are I was going to say 4 big games at 3 o'clock. That's not the case. You've got a 6 o'clock offering tonight between Dundee United and Aberdeen. Did I tell you two that we're staying on late for that one?
Please do. That'll save me a trip.
Just to run that past you. and then Kilmarnock Hearts tomorrow. So there is plenty to look forward to. Let's hear from the managers then. Callum Davidson first, then Ange Postecoglou.
I won't speak out of turn here. There's definitely a gulf size of the club and things like that, so I think it's always a hard ask to play against them. I think at home you've got the best chance to get something from the game, but you really need to go about your business and make no mistakes. Hopefully Celtic have a little bit of an off day. They've got quality come off the bench. Obviously the good thing for us is we've got a bit of quality come off the bench as well, so it's one of those games you could either have a go, you get turned over, a heavy scoreline, or you could sit in and try and make it uncomfortable for them as possible and try and keep the scoreline as little as possible to try and nick some of the game. So there's two ways to go about it, and we're trying to do one of those.
It will be a tough game. I think every game, in Premiership is that, especially away from home. You kind of know, the challenges that exist. They obviously played midweek and had disappointing results. So at home, they'll want to make sure they make amends for that. So, like I said, we know it's going to be a tough game, like all away games are in the Premiership. And again, it's just about us making sure that we start the game well and start with the right intensity and tempo.
The scene is set then for St Johnstone up against Celtic, and it kicks off next. The Super Scoreboard podcast is sponsored by Taggart's Motor Group. Taggart's have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. And as Taggart's are part of the Lookers family, one of the largest franchise dealer groups in the UK, you can browse thousands of nearly new and used vehicles in stock nationwide to find your perfect vehicle. They've also launched Click and Sell. It makes selling your car simple by using their trusted dealer network of over 150 sites. Why not give it a go today? See how much you could make on your old car. Taggart's have Land Rover showrooms in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showrooms found in Hillington. Check out taggarts.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
The scene is set at McDiarmid Park. We're almost about to get underway. Let's go there and try and speak to Andrew McLean.
Yeah, well, with the news Callum McGregor is out until after the World Cup, it's about seeing how Celtic cope without him. Cameron Carter-Vickers is wearing the captain's armband, which isn't too surprising. You'd have expected it would have been him or Joe Hart. It will be Cameron Carter-Vickers who will take the final team talk as well as Celtic go into their huddle at the moment. But as for the gap in midfield, the change is maybe not the most conventional that Postecoglou's gone for, but it's certainly a team full of attacking talent. We saw Aaron Moy going into that Callum McGregor role at St Mirren, and it didn't really work out. He didn't really show the dynamism or the positivity, the progressive passing that we see from Callum McGregor. Eventually McGregor was shifted back into his normal role, but Postecoglou's decided to try and go for something different in this game. Will it be Rio Hatate sitting as maybe the one holding midfielder? The way they're lining up at the moment, Rio Hatate standing on the halfway line, so it possibly looks as if it will be him and Matt O'Reilly that will be the two holding midfielders for Celtic today. Sead Haksabanovic would be in the number 10 role behind Yorgos Giacomakis, who's preferred to Kyogo up front today. But it should be interesting to see how this works. Certainly a chance for Ange Postecoglou to have a look at this Celtic side and see if this is the solution going forward. Sead Haksabanovic is the man standing over the ball, and we are about to get underway here at McDiarmid Park.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
Come on then, you terrible tipsters, as Celtic get us underway. How's this one going to finish?
St Johnstone 1, Celtic 2.
Mark Wilson.
St Johnstone 0, Celtic 3.
Gordon Dalziel.
I'll go one more, 4.
Okay, we'll find out then. You can stay in touch all afternoon at Clyde SSB on Twitter, and I'll give you the nod later on when it's time to pick up that phone. The open line will be here, the chance for you to have your say on all the weekend's big talking points as they unfold, because St Johnstone Celtic is just the first chapter. If Celtic do stretch their lead at the top, Rangers will have the chance to respond when they host St Mirren, Hibs Motherwell, Livy Ross County, and we'll even build up to a 6 o'clock Saturday kick-off in the Scottish Premiership. Things you don't often see as Dundee United take on Aberdeen. We're all set for a good day, Hugh. It's been a busy old European week, but good to have the bread and butter back.
Yeah, I mean, we've been given a bit of a schooling. Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, all been given a schooling in Europe. But today the objective for Celtic is quite straightforward. Beat St Johnstone, go 5 points clear at the top, and then Rangers, after their run around in Merseyside, they have to take on this St Mirren team who have surprised everyone. St Mirren being third in the league table is not what anyone expected at this stage, but it's a major test of Stephen Robinson and his players. But first and foremost, Celtic have to put Rangers under pressure in the first place.
Matt O'Reilly is the Callum McGregor by the looks of it, Mark. I know we spoke about whether it would be, to use the modern coaching phrase, the double pivot. I think it looks like Matt O'Reilly's doing that job on his own.
Yeah, certainly does, and he's certainly good enough. You know how comfortable he is in the ball. You can give him it in tight situations, and I think that is key if you're going to play that position for Celtic. The way Ange Postecoglou wants to play, his fullbacks going high, he needs someone for the two centre halves to bounce the ball off. And O'Reilly's, he's just shown there, a terrific pass, can do that easily.
Yeah, corner Celtic. O'Reilly out there to Jota. He nips the ball off the St Johnstone defender, and we have our first corner of the afternoon, 2 minutes in the Perth sunshine.
Yeah, it's been all Celtic. They've started well, they're knocking the ball. You talk about O'Reilly in that middle part, but what's noticeable as well, the way Celtic plays, there are two fullbacks in there occasionally, you know, and make it overloads and you cause problems. So Celtic looking to off to a quick start here at Perth.
Yeah, Stephen Welsh wins the header but can't get enough purchase on it, goes over the bar, and we reset. So I did say you can stay in touch at Clyde SSB all afternoon, send us a message. In fact, had a message in already, Gordon, all the way from Hong Kong, of all places.
I don't know him in Hong Kong.
This guy says he's got the game on the iPad out here in Hong Kong, but I've got you on the radio hoping the Dazzler's patter can cheer me up.
Right.
Who would be in Hong Kong and need cheered up?
I'll tell you who that is, right? Because he's playing snooker, right? He was. He's obviously knocked out. Right, first round, boom. No point going anymore, John. You've had your time. Kick back, relax, play golf with me. So we'll certainly entertain. I'm a big Celtic fan, John, but I hope his team go off to a good start.
Absolutely. 3 minutes in, it'll probably be 1 minute. There must be a delay if you've got the game on the iPad in Hong Kong. Surely it'll be 30 seconds in as far as he's concerned, but 2.5 for us. And Celtic very much on the front foot, piling on the pressure, just looking for that cute pass sometimes, Mark, which is tough to pull off, and St Johnstone scramble clear.
Well, it's tough when you've got so many opposition players in front of you. You just look at that penalty area, St Johnstone already packing up. But it's a beautiful turn there. Is it Hatate? Nice turn, was it? But I thought it was a corner kick. But it's incredibly difficult. I think that's why Ange Postecoglou has went with those creative players in there, all of them, even O'Reilly when he goes forward, because he has that eye for a pass, and they're going to need that today. You could have put Abelgard in there, you could have put McCarthy in there, but have they got that in their locker? Well, Abelgard, time will tell. McCarthy, maybe not so much now. So they'll need that creative force to get past this St Johnstone battling.
I don't know whether it's going to be a long day for St Johnstone facing wave after wave of Celtic attack, or a long day for Celtic facing defence in depth like St Johnstone have demonstrated so far.
I always feel you try not to just revert to this because we know it's a cliche, but the first goal, I feel like that because if you've got that challenge, right, this is not, you know, Livingston against Ross County. When you've got that stuffiness that you're trying to overcome, or as you say, the wave after wave that you're trying to prevent, the timing of the first goal really changes everything. You look at the St Mirren game when Celtic went to Paisley. If you don't score, that's the bit that sucks the belief out of you. It's the bit that gives the belief to the opposition, and that's when it can become a tricky day. If Celtic go and score within the first 10 minutes, St Johnstone having their backs to the wall doesn't really get them anywhere.
Whatever happens now, though, the longer it goes on, if Celtic don't score, people will inevitably say, I see, they're missing McGregor already. So from Celtic's perspective, an early goal would steady the ship.
Yeah, we should probably give them longer than 5 minutes. I think that would be fair.
But nevertheless, for St Johnstone, if you want to add to Celtic's anxiety, they score first and then you've got a game on.
I think St Johnstone need to get a hold of the ball to score first, Hugh. They've not been up the park. They're just sitting in. As I said earlier, what sort of a performance St Johnstone looking for? Certainly they're going to be disciplined. They've obviously worked in this in training, Gordon. You can tell the way they're moving across the pitch. Celtic try again behind their fullbacks.
Tell you what, it's a great challenge on the slide. Was it Dre Wright over on that side? It's a great sliding challenge to nip the ball away from Jota.
Up to be a good battle there. Right, plenty of pace. Jota wanting to go at him all the time, even looking to run in behind. He does well there, but it's going to keep coming down his side. It's going to be a tough afternoon for him.
Yeah, Jota has it again, puts a ball in, only half clear. Is Hatate going to be penalised for the high foot? No, which means it comes to Celtic on the edge of the box again. Oh my, I mean, I think is every St Johnstone player in the penalty box, and Celtic still find a way through, and somehow the ball doesn't end up in the back of the net. It was rolled across the face. Was it Burnaby in the end? Rolled across the face, just begging to be tapped home. No takers.
Yeah, and St Johnstone have got plenty of men, but they get caught with the 1-2, Gordon. That's schoolboy, but great play. Burnaby, I said earlier, I've only seen him once. Was it at Ross County? I'm sure it was Ross County.
Keeper get a touch on that?
Yeah, I thought so.
Should have been a corner
kick. And I really like the cut of him. I really do.
Cut of him?
Yeah, I think that he's good.
Okay.
You know, sometimes you look at a player and you think, yeah, he's a player.
Yeah. Well, and saying that, he gets into a great position there. I think the cutback was on. I think there was that Bada just hung out and he put it across the face. But great play, great desire to get through. But St Johnstone, if you're going to play with a back five, you got to get closer to people round the box and follow your runners, and they just switched off there. It's a bit too easy.
It's all well and good being there, because we mentioned that St Johnstone had pretty much everyone in their own penalty box. You still got to do a job once you're standing in that position.
Mark's right, you've got to go with runners. You can't see the minute that ball's played, you can't be following the ball with your head. The minute you do that, they're clever enough, they just run off you and cause you problems. Like there again.
Yeah, Celtic are enjoying this, you have to say. And I tell you what, if that's onside,
he's off. Surely he's off.
Jota across the field. Oh, what a miss that is! What a miss from Lil Abada. It's usually the type of area. Close your eyes and imagine Lil Abada coming in at the back post to score. You've seen him do it so often, that's his area, but this time he gets it all wrong.
Is he off?
No, he's not off.
No.
Someone is dragging their heels big time at the back. I mean, it maybe just pops up and before he gets the touch on it, but Celtic certainly should be in front.
Oh, well, it's brilliant play to open them up. Great desire from Jota to run in behind, and then the cut back, he's put it on a plate for him. It does just jump up, but still player of his ability who's scored so many goals for that position before, you expect him to score.
And yet
there's a chance.
St Johnstone, it's a sighted goal. It was just a straight ball over the top. Nicky Clark got in, tried to lob Joe Hart, and it goes over the bar.
They got away with one.
We go.
I'll tell you what, he's got that in his locker. He put that in the back of the net, and I've got to say he picks the right choice. Welsh question marks.
And there's the argument in Champions League midweeks. We always say at this level you get punished for that. Now if that's midweek, that's one ball through, Hearts off his line, they score that. I think Clark should do better there.
Fair play to St Johnstone for carving out a decent chance with what must be 2% possession. But it does just show you how quickly things can flip you.
I mean, it happened in Germany. The Celtic switch off for a matter of seconds.
Yeah, one of the goals was after Celtic's best period, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Welsh exposed there, and Ange Postecoglou, I know he's always positive, but you have to show a sign of concern about that stuff.
Yeah, it was poor defending. Nicky Clark, as I say, I think Joe Hart for that split second would have been a bit concerned, because he's decent at doing things like that. Clark, decent goal scorer. So it's just a wee warning, I think, to Celtic. Look, as much as you are dominating as a game, you've got to make sure you don't switch off.
Very, very comfortable in terms of the balance of play so far. Probably should be in front. That Lil Abada one goes down as a bit of a sitter.
Without doubt. Yeah. I know it does bobble up, but still unopposed. The centre half's nowhere near him. He should just sight that in the back of the net.
We're into Ronnie Rosenthal territory.
Oh, we're not quite there yet.
Come on,
remember that? What
a miss.
Goal sitting there in front of him.
Would you have scored that again?
Not a problem. Not a problem.
He'd have stuck a hush puppy right through it. burst the net. Absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. 10.5 gone. Still goalless. Celtic enjoying themselves, but it might be a booking for Stephen Welsh. He's adamant he didn't make contact. I'm not really sure. Are the St Johnstone players seriously wanting more than a yellow here, or are they just trying to make the case for a yellow?
The referees went over.
It's a yellow card.
I was going to say he's stretching his pocket. I thought he was going to reverse his decision there.
Oh, do you know what though? Stephen Welsh doesn't make contact there, does he?
No, he doesn't touch him. That's Stephen Welsh's argument. That's why he jumps up and says I didn't touch him. The speed he goes at.
Intent.
The St Johnstone player is making more than a meal of it. you'd have to say.
Well, certainly if he wasn't touched. I mean,
He's been down holding his leg as if
does he?
there was no contact.
Does he still stop the promising attack regardless of whether
right next up by him, and he's certainly impeded because he has to avoid the tackle. So I think it is a booking. Right decision.
Yeah, agree with you. I think the referee was spot on there. Just obviously you mentioned John Higgins there in Hong Kong. Give him an update. He's 2 minutes in. It's 11 minutes, John. It's still 0-0.
Here goes Celtic again into the box. It's a good ball and it's well defended, you have to say. And St Johnstone do draw the foul on this near side, and we get another break in play.
It's a lively game though. I mean, 12 minutes in and it's been lively. We've had chances at either end. Celtic should be in front. The biggest problem Celtic have had domestically and in Europe of late is the failure to take chances. It was there against Motherwell. It was there in the European matches, particularly Shakhtar Donetsk, and it's become a bugbear for Celtic. The chances are not being taken.
And there ends the similarity between St Johnstone and Real Madrid. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
Because Celtic even missed
Another
chances.
good thing
in
about
game.
that, and the positive, Hugh, I do agree they would be disappointed. You look at their league form, 27 goals so far, 8 games. They create chances.
The stats boffins would tell you that it'll come. If you're the old expected goals, if it's there. We use the mighty Steelmen as an example. Creating loads of chances against Dundee United and Hearts. If you keep that level of chance creation up, then the stats tell you you'll start taking them.
100%. As an ex-striker gone, I used to look at games and think, as long as I'm getting the chances, okay, I've missed a few today, I'm not really bothered.
Joe Hart's got the old cap on. Nothing worse when the goalie has to go for the cap.
Sunshine.
I think they would invent something nowadays, like sunglasses,
like a umbrella hat.
Remember David's had the old strap-on
I think
glasses.
that was for like an eye condition.
I know, but get tinted.
So you think in a bid to
that'd be more comfortable in a cap.
In a bid to not look ridiculous in goal, Joe Hart should swap his hat for sunglasses.
Listen, if anyone wants to prototype that, get me
Shades
involved.
and flip-flops.
Well, hold on though, right? Let's bear with the man here, Hugh, because we're always moaning that Scottish football doesn't think outside the box and doesn't maximise its commercial capacity. The Specsavers, do they still sponsor the referees?
It's an opportunity.
Could they branch out, get some shade, wrap around shades for the goalies?
I'd love to see him coming out that lift.
That's a great idea.
What do you call that programme?
The goalkeeper in Celtic's greatest team of all time, Ronnie Simpson, used to wear a proper bonnet, and he kept his false teeth in it.
Is that true? See, I always thought that maybe like an urban myth.
Absolutely true.
Oh my
a
goodness.
bonnet and his false teeth were in it.
Why would he keep his false teeth in his bonnet?
Just in case he was getting his picture taken at the end.
What, just leave them in the dressing room?
Well, maybe it was his lucky
in case
false
someone
teeth.
steals them.
There's a lot of
Nothing worse
questions
when
in
your
that there.
false teeth get stolen. Anyway,
Right, he's stolen my
it's
false
perhaps a bit of a
And he won a European Cup.
pointless conversation because it's only sunny 2 days a year in Scotland anyway. So Joe Hart just happens to have found one. Giacomakis goes down injured. He actually looks like he's in a bit of pain, because
he's fine.
He's quite a robust
Head knock.
robust character. Was this not where
Didn't see much in this.
do you know what? Is it Considine's hand does get sort of round his face, which is
Well, the ball comes in, Giacomakis goes for it. By the way, Considine's all over the back of him there, doesn't make any sort of contact with the ball, and Giacomakis goes down. Like, it's a tough gig up there for him against three big centre halves. He's going to have to battle away this afternoon.
Is this where Kyogo's injury started last year?
Remember
that game round about Christmas time?
Well, he had the injury before. Was that in the cup final?
Sort of rushed
they played
back,
him.
was it?
Yeah, and they lasted
not
15
long
minutes, 20 minutes.
He just rubbed Giacomakis'
And
head.
of course, who was brought on that day? Remember, it was the young lad.
Oh no, it wasn't. It was Dawson.
So it shows the difference in Celtic squad.
Joey Dawson.
Yeah.
Something like
Have
that.
we ever seen him again since?
Is he out on loan? Or is he playing with the under 21s?
Good question. Someone will answer it for me.
I quite like the look of that boy.
Did you? In the one game we saw.
It's the B team. B team now. It's not under 21s. So
Anyway,
money that.
You just rubbed Giacomakis' head, tell him he's Erling Haaland, and get on with it.
And he does indeed get on with it. We're fine. We're 16 gone. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 0. Still mostly Celtic, you have to say.
Yeah, it's funny how a game kind of progresses. You go on 15 minutes in, it's all down the left hand side. Bernabé, Jota, Even we see Tati getting in the left hand side. I've very rarely seen Ralston. He's got a throw in here. Abada, well, he should have taken his chance, but we've not seen him much running at Brown. So Celtic certainly preferring the left hand side, and yet Ralston's just, such a asset going forward. We've seen him last season, how many assists you get. So it's a decent replacement for Juranovic. Is Juranovic out because of that eye injury, or is he just rested, do we think?
He's on the bench,
He's
isn't
on
he?
the bench, yeah.
He must be fine in that
Squad
regard.
rotation, it's called, Mark.
Yeah.
Celtic just popping about in their own corner area. Joe Hart with the cap, able to come in and start the move at the other side with Stephen Welsh, and there's still a bit of space. I mean, Welsh is able to carry that all the way up to the halfway line unopposed, but I guess that's maybe the way St Johnstone want it. Would rather do their defending a bit deeper.
Yeah, the minute Celtic get the ball, you can see St Johnstone game plan, everybody behind, close the space, make it very difficult for them. This is a game for Celtic as patience. They're dominating the ball. They've just got to make sure they're patient, knock the ball about.
Yeah, that's
and
nice
cause
from
trouble.
Celtic into the box with Jota. He's twisting, turning, but he's got about 7 blue jerseys in front of him, and it's going to come edge of the box, and it is just
off the post.
Did that hit the post in the end?
Yeah, it hit the post.
From Matt O'Reilly. I think it did take a deflection or a touch from the goalie on its way, because it's a corner to Celtic, but that's another very close shave for St Johnstone.
Set up beautifully for him to set it up himself. Just took a great touch on his left foot. Defender does well to get a block on it. A good chance for Celtic, that.
Well, he'll take the corner himself, Matt O'Reilly, and it's a good one. The keeper misses it, does he? It falls down and hacked away.
That's the famous keeper's away shout. We had that many a time.
Yeah, a good pressure this from Celtic. Gave it away right enough, but a good ball in there for you, O'Reilly.
Good shout from you there.
Well, it's a bit of pressure.
I didn't hear the
You had a tough morning.
Oh, he's had a very tough morning, this boy.
Incidentally, I've told you, I tell you every week, I've got eyes and ears on you both at all times.
I've been
I can
quiet.
sometimes keep track of him, but he's a bit more difficult because he moves in the shadows.
He does.
And
But
and
you
goes
two-
on a train.
You two at all times, and I hear you had a fancy wee breakfast this morning, did you?
I was at Partick Duck Club.
West
Yeah,
End.
beautiful.
Other eateries are available.
Not as good as that though. But yeah.
Expensive breakfast in the end, was it?
Well,
We
I got
parking
a
infringement outside.
Did you get a wee?
right? Okay, wait a minute. How do you know that? Because that is literally, an hour and a half ago.
Listen, I don't
How do you
why-
know that?
It's not important.
It is important to me.
I know
because there was nobody else in the street.
I know everything you two do, genuinely.
Did you get a wee complimentary letter?
I did. I
Parking
came back to my car, even though I had paid the amount for parking.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Nah, no way.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can
And
try
the
and tell
sign,
us it's.
And
the
it
sign
ran
is
out.
right there. This is you know, the online app. This is your number,
Another
done
one.
it now. So the attendant was there, and I said, "Why have I got a parking ticket? I'm still in time." That's not a space you're parked in.
Quite right.
I went-
Quite right too.
You must be joking. There's a full line of cars there, and I've squeezed into this space. That's not a space. I said, "What do you mean? Everybody's parked here."
Let's
No,
hear
the
it.
guy's
No,
just
no.
doing his job.
It was a
Guys,
lady. You see,
Yeah,
this
should
day
never
and age,
assume.
it was a lady.
The
But I was
lady's
very
just doing
polite.
her job.
Now, what I want to know is how
Upholding
do you
the
know
rules.
that?
Doesn't
Unless you know the parking attendant, how would you know that?
Not important.
It is.
Are you going to appeal it? Are you going to pay it?
No, I'm appealing it.
Nah.
The sign is at my window, right there.
You've just exposed. Well, I was going to say you've just exposed yourself. That's not what I mean. But you've just shown your hand.
Get a bigger fine for that.
You've just shown
than
your
parking.
hand to thousands of people listening. You're never getting away with it now.
I'm not. Okay, less said
Right,
the better,
okay,
because
what
it
do we
might
think?
affect my appeal.
You can tweet us, pay it or not. What's the verdict?
I'm
for Mark
appealing that.
Wilson?
Do you want me to come up and
Represent.
Definitely not.
My client is
double
Celtic
straight away.
FC Mark Wilson. He can
You-
park where he wants.
That's why you don't drive. Save all this hassle.
Free the Partick Duck one.
Exactly. 30 quid. And the lady said to me, well, you
He's
can appeal
spending
it,
them
or you might just go home and think, it's not worth it. I says, it's 30 quid. I says, 100% I'm appealing that.
He spent more on cakes. He's born about 30
Oh, what a
bucks.
cake selection.
Well, by
he
the
brought
way,
in
that's
today.
how it did become expensive, because I thought I was doing well.
That's a sore one.
That is a sore one.
And the booking.
Not a known hatchet man, have to say. Oh no, hold on. Which one was it?
McGowan.
I'm not saying he is either, but
He's
I thought it was
He's
Jamie
more a
Murphy at
hatchet man.
first. Yeah, I thought it was
Better
Jamie
known.
Murphy. He's more robust than him. Ryan McGowan goes. He just gets it wrong. Comes through the back of Haksabanovic, and goes into the book.
They're sore ones, aren't they? They are sore ones. They're a 5-minute run off, no doubt.
No, what the beauty of being a defender, you never really got them. Somebody coming through the back of you, of course, because everything was always in front of you.
Oh, they're sore.
21 gone, St Johnstone 0, Celtic 0. A couple of big chances for Celtic. A decent sight at goal for St Johnstone, but they've really not managed to have the ball. Other than that, patience is key, Gordon, isn't it? It's a message Ange Postecoglou's he's been bringing up a lot recently. Yes, if you win 9-0 and 5-0 and all the rest of it is very good, but it shouldn't trick people into thinking you just turn up and do that every week.
No, exactly. And obviously with the Celtic fans travelling up there watching the TV, the amount of talent they've got, forward thinking players, they're thinking, right, okay, like me, I thought there'd be plenty of goals, but it's always the first one that's important because it changes the mindset of the opposition. And if Celtic get it, look, I think Postecoglou will still be happy with the first 21 minutes. They've controlled the pace of the game, they've controlled the game, created a few chances. They just need that final touch.
Sometimes you're looking for signs, Hugh. You can sometimes tell. You take that game in Paisley, by 21 minutes you could kind of tell it wasn't Celtic's day. This doesn't yet have the same feel to it.
Yeah,
because of their dominance.
I think you've been generous. I think after 10 minutes at Paisley you knew it wasn't Celtic's day. They were as flat as a pancake the whole day long. But they have been entertaining here, but lack the killer instinct in front of goal. And I think the St Johnstone goalkeeper's there for the taking. He lost at a corner kick, spilled another shot. I just think that he would wilt under pressure.
I think every St Johnstone player is back in that low block that we often get in these Premiership games, which is absolutely fine. I know we do a bit of whinging about it on the phone in sometimes, Mark, but if you're Callum Davidson, you're just trying to make life difficult. He was actually joking through the week that he was going to get the grass long and get his pitching wedge out and take a few divots out of it, he said. And then he remembered that he's actually an unbelievably good golfer, and he probably just clips the ball away, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he play like this against a team like Celtic with all the attackers on? You'd make it hard.
There goes Abada into the ball. I'll tell you what,
I could have went anywhere.
The hand goes up.
The puff of the cheeks
from Mitchell. A sliced clearance in his own box over his own crossbar. Did not know where he was going there, really.
That is an outstanding cross from Abada on the run. Puts it right in the money, right in the 6-yard line. Incredibly hard to do, and what he needs is,
I'll tell you what was hard to do: the shin clearance facing the opposite way to
I've had a few of them written off my time. Unintentional.
So Celtic's corner, it's that sort of high, deep one, though. It's always tough to get that instantly directed back towards goal, and they'll have to come out and start again.
Well, St Johnstone lost in midweek at Kilmarnock, and that's out with Celtic and Rangers. That's the way this league goes. There's no consistency anywhere. So they're allowed to line up the way they have lined up because they're playing Celtic. But Celtic have been showing every sign of breaking them down, but just lack the killer touch for the moment.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, for both of these sides, what a different tactical challenge in the space of a few days. For Celtic, you go to Leipzig, they're going to really come at you as well, and you can kind of go toe to toe, and it was end to end stuff. And then, for St Johnstone, a game they'll have gone into at Kilmarnock feeling they could win, albeit that they didn't. And then both teams having to face a very different challenge just a couple of days later.
And from Celtic's point of view, I think that gets overlooked a lot because it is a totally different game, that they play against in these midweek Champions League games, and then they have to come back and they have to get used to being the team again that's got 75% possession or whatever.
81%.
81 just now, but midweek, you're way off that, so it can be difficult, but that's why they're paid the big bucks and why they're at Celtic. They need to find a way. But absolutely. I was going to say to you, I'm looking at Murphy and Clark. Did you ever play as deep as a striker as them? Because they're almost 40 yards for their own goal when Celtic get the ball. That's a hard shift.
100%. And then you've got to try and get up the pitch, and that's why they can't get up the pitch. But I think that Callum Davison and his team will have a game plan just now. And look, they've gave up possession. Celtic aren't cutting them open. I think Celtic are more dangerous when you push men forward and they hit you in the counter attack, rather than give them all the ball in front, because you can sort of plug the gaps a little bit, work on it, make sure you go with runners. But when you commit men forward, that's when Celtic just 2-3 passes and all of a sudden you're in trouble.
Do you know what I was thinking though? Since there's not much happening on the pitch, Mark Wilson, don't let him give you a tough time for the parking ticket, because he's not had a great morning either.
What's he been up to?
I never
Now,
got a parking
He was
ticket.
cutting it fine,
Well,
time wise, coming in.
I thought I had left these things behind. I deliberately moved out of the Motherwell area so that I didn't need to car share with this guy anymore, right? And I can come peacefully into my work on a Saturday morning, Hugh, and listen to myself think. So I'm in the petrol station along the road, and you know the one, you know that popular sandwich shop that sometimes you find in the petrol station.
Yes.
You know the one. Sandwiches are sold in either 6-inch or
Like a
foot long
underground train.
varieties. And just hold it a second, because Celtic are on the attack, but it's cleared away. And I hear him. I think, great, here he goes. As if 6 hours isn't enough, and I hear him. And you know, he's to the lady behind the counter. What's your name? What's your name? That Debs. Oh, and he's giving it Debs this and Debs that, and I can hear. Oh, see, I've never had a salad box before. You'll need to talk me through it. How does it work?
How does a salad box work?
No, in that shop, I didn't know
I'm
what
in a
the
bit of a rush
procedure
at
was.
this point, and what do I get with that? And how many scoops of chicken do I get? And I'm thinking, oh, for goodness sake, give me a break, hurry up. Next thing, he's just taking it one stretch too far. You know the big glass guards, you know the one that you look through to pick the one that you touch to pick what salad you want. He's leaned on it, and the full thing collapsed down.
No way.
Down on top of the salad, the big glass.
You're joking.
I was near it. I was
It
nearly
nearly smashed.
I was nearly the dearest salad I've ever had in my life. You should have seen me Debs' face. She went all colours.
See when I saw it start to collapse, for me there was no way that it didn't end up smashed, but somehow it doesn't. It must be designed. I think you can pull it down at the end of the night or whatever, but the big glass
that could not have happened at any other stage in Subway's career.
of course not.
I'm beginning to think that I live a very ordinary life. You know,
What did they get him say?
I just had breakfast and came to work.
She was shocked, to say the least.
No wonder.
Because as you say, she's probably done a 20 stretch in there and never seen that ever in her life.
I did panic. I've got to admit, I did panic.
She heard them.
Because he'd be getting charged for it.
He shouted so high, but that's fallen. Trying to go for it.
But you
know the
didn't
thing?
see it.
Debs doesn't even die for it. You know what I mean? She's there.
Doesn't
She's
get paid enough to cut her hands
she's
open with his
got to-
glass.
she's got to go for the big
Why are you leaning on the glass for
I
anyway?
don't know. I just had a moment.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, smashing
it was
Oh,
fantastic,
honestly,
I
I would
must
have
admit.
died laughing if I seen you clambering over the glass.
I'm now barred
A
out.
sandwich.
I'm now barred. I'll try to get an extra bit of lettuce.
That's amazing.
But
That's
even
brilliant.
even the most mundane tasks are a challenge for this guy. I can hear him, and he's giving it. Oh yeah, I want the sauce. What's the sauce? The one, the northeast. What's the one? You know, the northeast sauce.
What needs compass for Chipotle?
Everything about it was just a task.
Jeez, oh.
I don't know what I did to
By the
deserve
way,
that.
he's-
Like I say, met him in there by chance.
That's brilliant. That's a great story. I wish it smashed so much, and she wasn't injured, obviously, but just
No.
you having to pay for
for it.
all the fillings and the glass and everything. I would have made my life.
See, Hugh, there's a lesson here. Don't drive
Yep.
and eat digestive biscuits for breakfast or whatever it is you have.
I had a croissant actually.
Oh, very
nice,
continental.
nice.
Once you've had a sing-song on a speedboat in the Grand Canal in Venice, life takes on
I
a
was going to
different
say,
meaning.
you are a different man now
Yeah.
since you got the suitcase back.
Yeah.
Ball into the box, and it's
Another missed
somehow
chance.
goes past
He's
the
offside.
post.
He's offside. the
That's
flag.
one that if you're Jota, you're delighted the flag's got up, because I was going to say probably, definitely should have done better
Oh, he's a mile
with
off.
the header. Ralston's ball round the back, heads it wide.
I think he realises that and just
Oh, do you
puts-
think so? Deliberately puts
plays
it wide.
plays for a bit of time.
And the chance comes for St Johnstone, just slack play. It was Brown just over Cooksey's touch, and Ralston, and a great ball for Ralston as well. But that's what you feel. That's what Celtic need. A mistake for one of that, back five, to then open up a bit of space to get in behind, because it's also congested when they get near St Johnstone's boxes, and it's incredibly difficult to carve an opening.
But you've got to say, St Johnstone, apart from, I would say it was, I think Welsh has got to do a better mistake. They've really offered nothing. They're just sitting here hoping they can get half time 0-0 and then take it from there. But they're making it difficult.
You kind of just,
but Celtic are knocking the door.
you're just hoping Celtic don't score. That's kind of what the
Yeah.
tactic comes down to, doesn't it?
And I think that's a long afternoon if you're going to allow that to happen. If you just keep giving Celtic the ball back with the quality they've got in the pitch, I think they'll eventually get you.
However, they will take that.
It's great play from
O'Reilly
McGowan.
takes it a spin and doesn't really do anything with it, and eventually gives away a throw-in.
McGowan's pressing him and he's right on his back and he forces him all the way over to the touchline where O'Reilly runs it out of play, and that's why McGowan's in there. By the way, he's supposed to be great last week. I heard, was it Roger Hanna having a go at my team of the week that McGowan and May wasn't selected?
Yeah.
He's been decent that holding role today.
He's got a big anti-St Johnstone bias apparently.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, they were rivals when I was at United. It's
And
still
over the last
Tayside
week's game was
derby.
against Dundee
I know,
United,
I know. I
wasn't
didn't like that.
You started something on Twitter. Bob's on. He's in your camp. He says, "Tell Wilson this happened to me in the West End as well," and he sent a picture.
Yes.
However, it says restricted parking, park only in the signed bays.
Oh, you're
There
done.
we go.
Well, I didn't see that sign.
Bob's given with one hand and taken away with the other.
Yeah.
I'll be appealing.
Michael Collins makes a fair point. He says, nervous driver, remember him? The guy that
Yeah,
used to
aye,
slag
yeah,
Mark Wilson
aye.
for not tipping the takeaway driver. He's waiting for his first tip in 10 years from Mark, and you're wanting him to pay a parking ticket. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Well, look after the pennies and what's he saying? The pounds
Just
will
pay it.
no way. Hey, you're lucky you didn't have a more expensive day than me. By the way, can't get it out of my head now. How was it left?
She just sort of
She wouldn't have let me
sheepishly-
open up, would you?
she wouldn't let you touch it again. She had to pick it back up, and to try and make amends, he started saying, "Is there any way?" Bet you wish you hadn't met me. "Is there any way I can leave like a survey to see how good your service has been?" He's so full of absolute rubbish. And she gave him. She
didn't say that,
He
did you?
And she gave him the receipt and said, "If you fill this out, you get a free cookie."
How simple is it to go in and order something?
I know, honestly.
And you've just made that a whole entire drama.
Do you know what's really annoying about it? I'm first, right? So my sandwich building process has begun. He then approaches, just starts getting involved, and mine just gets left to the side.
Yeah, quite often the
while
case
they
when
look
he's
after
a bit-
him.
Quite often the case when he's a bit that he takes over the situation.
I didn't arrive here until about 15 minutes before the show started.
You were worried.
In case you think it sounds even more underprepared than usual.
Hughes, what's happening in Perth?
Right, it's the same old Celtic, and there's another chance for
Offside.
Jack Mackers. Offside again.
Ball ends up in the net this time, but flag was up
But
early enough.
we've had the one Nicky Clark shot over the bar for St Johnstone, and that is the sum total of their contribution to this game in a positive sense. In a negative sense, they are still stonewalling Celtic, and we're 35 minutes in now, and I think Celtic deserve a lead but haven't got one, and the opposite side of that coin is that if you don't take the chances, then you don't deserve the lead.
Absolutely. And this becomes about making it to half time now, doesn't it, Gordon? 10 minutes until the break.
Yeah, I think Callum Davison at this moment in time will be delighted. As much as Celtic have created a few chances, I was looking for better off Celtic, but I think as a great ball comes in here,
Yeah, it's
good
actually
defender.
well defended.
Yeah, I think St Johnstone have defended very well. I've got to say they've got back numbers. They've made it difficult. Callum Davison will be looking at his watch thinking, if I can get in here 0-0, I will be over the moon. Postecoglou, he'll be patient. He knows he's got the talent out there. At any given moment, can open St Johnstone up.
0-0 at half time is to plant a seed of doubt in the minds of the Celtic fans, Celtic players, that they've been by far the better team, had 81% possession at its peak, but missed chances and good defensive work by St Johnstone. Psychologically, Celtic would love to win 1-0 up.
Yeah, there are still levels to dominance, Mark. Celtic, they still could be creating more, if that makes sense. I know they've missed chances, but they're not. It's not that continual battering down of the goal that you sometimes see, is it?
Not really, no. But that's to do with the shape they're coming up against. I think the two wing backs for St Johnstone are putting in an incredible shift. You look at James Brown just there. How many times have we seen that move? Ralston gets the ball on the halfway line, plays it inside the fullback, and the fullback sometimes switches off, but there's none of that. And the same on the other side, we're right after a difficult opening for Jota, he's matched them pretty well, and that back three are just left to deal with Giakoumakis. Sometimes you'll pass people on that, but they're well drilled. Daz says it earlier on, they've obviously worked in this, that the wing backs follow Celtic's wide players and let the other three just defend that box.
So does Giakoumakis seem a bit frustrated? He's just gone thundering into Max Kucheravi, who we spoke about before the game, and add that to the fact that he's not really been involved that much. Gordon, he looks a bit frustrated.
Yeah, he'll be looking for quality balls in the box. He knows the amount of possession his teams have, and you do, as a centre, you're thinking, this is a day I could grab a couple of goals, because obviously we're going to have all the balls, create the chances, but he's not had the service. It's interesting obviously to see there that St Johnstone don't have the same rotation from throw-ins as Celtic have at Celtic Park. It took them about 5 minutes just to take one there. They're obviously looking at the clock thinking 0-0 at half time here would be terrific.
Corner St Johnstone, they just lumped that free kick long, got a flick on, and it goes out for the corner kick, so you never know, Hugh.
First corner of the game for St Johnstone, 37 minutes in. Celtic need to avoid a repetition of what happened in Paisley, where St Mirren score very late in the first half and Celtic simply did not recover. So it's the first chance to put Joe Hart under real pressure.
Yeah, the big men are up. It's not the best ball, but it's also not the best clearance. The shot eventually goes well over the top from Max Kucheravi.
How disappointing is that from a St Johnstone point of view, that Halberg with the corner, and you see everybody crowding around Joe Hart. They've obviously worked in that as well. Put it in this area, yep, and pin him and try and get a runner across him, and he hits the first man. So incredibly frustrating from that point of view. And you looked at the build up to the corner as well. McGowan, I thought, was in the box, and he could have taken a touch and
just settled for the corner.
Settle for the corner. So again, it shows you that there's maybe something that they think is a real strength this afternoon. They had a big physical side.
Did you get the impression that Celtic were just full of good ideas, but not so many good ideas now, way into the first half?
Yeah, St Johnstone would be taking this now, wouldn't they?
100%, yeah. You said to Callum Davison, look, that's the pattern of the game, you've got to give up possession. 38, 39, 0-0. But I still, like you, Gordon, that first goal's got to change everybody's mindset. They've got to get it, let's be honest, they've got to get it first and foremost. But certainly a patient afternoon, because I think that credit must go to the discipline of St Johnstone. I think they've been excellent for 38 minutes.
I don't think it's helping Celtic when they're going forward, especially on this right hand side. A number of times now Haksabanovic has ran into the space behind Abada. If I'm Abada, I'm wanting that space left for, just leave me against Brown and leave Ralston to play that ball in behind. He's trying to flick it round the corner, Abada, and it goes out, but Haksabanovic is taking another defender in there. A bit strange, but Celtic system before, that's just left those big wide open spaces. It's how they punish teams.
Ball into the box from Jamie Murphy, dealt with by Stephen Welsh, and here is Haksabanovic. He goes down. That will be an easy call for the referee. Free kick.
St Johnstone looked as if they're getting a wee bit more self-belief here. They're coming forward, which they haven't done for 35 minutes, but now they're just beginning to think might be something in this.
I think there's still a long way to go, Hugh. And see, when you're, as much as they've been really disciplined, see when you're chasing, and Mark will tell you, playing against good teams and you're chasing constantly and you're not on the ball as much as you're normally week in, week out against other teams, the tiredness kicks in, the concentration kicks in, and then just one lapse of that, this team can open you up. The best thing for St Johnstone obviously would be if they could get the first goal from a set play or a terrific strike, because they don't look like they're cutting Celtic open at any point. So their best bet's coming from a set play or a bit of magic from someone. But I think Callum Davison right now will be a very happy St Johnstone manager.
And you can see what St Johnstone want to happen there. Carter Vickers steps forward, they then forces one into the feet of, was it Giakoumakis or Haksabanovic, and St Johnstone can get right up on it and nick the foot in and take it away. They want Celtic to force that, don't they?
Well, they do, and Daz is right in terms of how they've worked at it, because when you work in things like this and run your shape against what you think the opponent's shape's going to be, it kind of go more to plan than has done for St Johnstone. I know they gave up that Abada chance where they should put it away, but apart from that, forcing Celtic into positions that they can defend easily, keeping them away from the wide areas as much as they can. It's waiting to plan for
Well, you
St
look
Johnstone.
at you look at the St Johnstone goalkeeper. It's not like we're sitting here now saying he's man of the match. He's been absolutely brilliant, save after save after save. He's
It's
not
a
been called into
sitter
question.
from Abada
Yeah.
is the one. What was the other? Oh, here we are. Celtic into the box. Good play. This flashed across, and it is in the back of the net.
Goal flashes
That's an own goal, is it?
with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
You want to steal my thunder? You want to come round this side of the desk and you can tell
Yeah,
everybody what happened?
Celtic take the league at Perth, an own goal.
Didn't sound
Sorry.
the same as Gordon. You sound
You're
much
right,
better.
it was an own
Glasses.
goal. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1. It was actually a really good move down the right hand side. Some neat play, some 1-2s. Was it Haksabanovic eventually who gets on it? Hatate, a cute little reverse ball. Haksabanovic squares it across and fired into the roof of his own net. A terrific finish. Was it Andy Considine?
Andy Considine,
Yeah.
yeah.
Near post, he can boogie right into the top corner.
I think Mark hit it the nail right in the head when he says, I wish Haksabanovic would stop running into position. But he certainly gets in there. He gets in there. Look, Mark's a defender, he'll tell you better than me. I think there's sometimes really hard balls. It's unlucky. You can't legislate for that, can you?
Can you move your feet quicker?
Probably. You could probably, do a lot of things better, but when it's hit at that pace and you've got that split second.
There's obviously a bit of luck involved, Mark, because if it hits your toe, it could go anywhere, but for him, it goes into the top corner.
Yeah, bit unfortunate for Considine, but the pace in the ball for Haksabanovic, the willingness, I think, for Haksabanovic to run not into a wide dead end like I was chatting about, but an inside channel that he was fed in, was it by Hatate? It just opens up now. If you're Callum Davidson,
You're not a happy manager.
You're fuming because for 42 minutes you have followed every runner,
and all of a sudden Haksabanovic has got a new lease of life. It's a great run, and eventually it's hacked clear. And Hugh, on one hand, Celtic deserve that.
Yep.
And on the other, as the guys say, if you're Callum Davidson, you're thinking, we've done all right. We've been hanging in there, and it's a crazy own goal that undoes you.
The height of irony, because a Celtic team full of potential goal scorers, whether it's Giacomakis, Jota, Abada, Hatate, and it's one of the opposition who scores for you in the end, and the song is now, yes sir, I'm a bogey.
Oh, brilliant.
43 gone, St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1 now. That Andy Considine own goal. Celtic, you would imagine, going kick on from here. We did say that the first goal can be the one that's
St Johnstone have just
important.
got to get in one now. This could be dangerous. If they lost another one, that would be absolute disastrous for them.
at least one of them's got to be a foul.
I was gonna
Surely.
say, I think there's about 3 or 4 fouls on Bernabei. Initially I don't think the ref was that interested for some reason. He does get the decision in the end, and it'll be a free kick in the crossing position, maybe about 8 yards out, but over on that far side.
Bernabei can be pleased with his first half.
Yeah.
We don't really know that much about him, hasn't that much game time, but this is by far his best spell in a Celtic jersey.
I think he's a good player. I'm going early on him. I think he's got great competition from Taylor, obviously, but I think he looks a business, this boy. I really do. I like him.
So Jota and O'Reilly over the ball, trying to come up with some sort of game plan. It goes to the edge of the box.
I don't think he was ready for
I
that.
don't think they told him.
He wasn't in the plan.
That didn't look particularly well planned, despite all the chat. They played it to Haksabanovic, who didn't look like he wanted it, and by the time he took a touch and tried to shoot, he was blocked and out for a throw-in.
But
Bizarre.
look, it's the way the manager wants him to play. Off the cuff, quick thinking. Your
You all
teammates
need
just
to
need to
think
know
quick,
what you're doing. I think Haksabanovic was just looking a bit. Ball's at his feet at the edge of the box.
Just admiring the surroundings. I doubt he's been to Perth before. Maybe he's just taking it all in.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I was there the other week, and the work that they've done behind their stadium on their
Yeah,
training,
the training
ground,
pitch looks
brilliant,
good, doesn't it? I was there.
It's a long time
They're
since I've seen
actually
it.
using it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it 2 pitches or
2
something?
pitches, yeah.
Because
Beautiful.
they've got
there on
a
Wednesday.
they've got the pitch astroturf right outside.
Yeah, the other, so behind the goal that Celtic have just scored into.
Oh, they've got a pitch.
Is that right?
No, behind the main
Well, I suppose- yeah,
across
it
from
is,
the tunnel, yeah. But it's beautiful.
Yeah, it looked good, I must say. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1, only 1 minute added on, so we will be pretty much at the end of the first half, and we'll see what the half-time break brings, whether Callum Davidson rolls the dice in any way, whether any of Ange Postecoglou's men need freshened up. We will find out. We'll try and speak to Andrew McLean, albeit battling those technical difficulties in Perth before the match, and see what he has made of it out there in terms of an eyewitness account.
Well, Ange Postecoglou will settle for what he's got. You know, his team have by far been the dominant one in this game, but they'll take the 1-0 even though it's a known goal.
Half-time whistle goes in Perth. Andrew McLean.
Yeah, half-time score here is St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1. And the home side, they've defended well for most of the half, but it was an Andy Considine own goal that means Ange Postecoglou's side are ahead. Celtic's first chance came when Jota was played through down the left just on the 10-minute mark. He found Abada in the middle of the box, and somehow the winger from a really good position put the bouncing ball wide of the mark. St Johnstone then played a long ball up the other end. A minute later, Nicky Clark attempting a lob over the head of Joe Hart, but that one went over the Celtic bar. Matt O'Reilly, he's occupying the Callum McGregor role in this game. He nearly put Celtic ahead 18 minutes in as well. His left-footed effort from the edge of the box, it took a deflection and then hit the post. Not long after that, Sead Haksabanovic forced a save from Remy Matthews. That was a strike from distance, but it really was straight at the St Johnstone keeper. And Leila Bada also hit the crossbar from across from the right-hand side as well. But Celtic did get their breakthrough just before half-time. Good play down the right between Rio Hatate and Sead Haksabanovic. It was Haksabanovic that then played a low cross to the front post. Andy Considine was there. He could only slice it high into his own net for 1-0. Celtic's dominance paying off so far. The half-time score, St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1.
What have you made of that, Hugh Keevins?
All Celtic, except for Nicky Clark's shot over the bar. They are deservedly in front. As I say, it's the height of irony that having been so dominant and having so many potential goal scorers in their team, it's a St Johnstone player who puts Celtic one up. But these things happen. Ange Postecoglou can be pleased, I think, with the attitude that's been shown by his players. They have gone about their business minus Callum McGregor, but you wouldn't notice. They've been that successful in their passing movement, but once again the chance taking has to improve.
I'd agree with that. I think the manager would be quite happy with that in the first half. Hugh's right, chance taking, a couple of the clearer cut ones they should have taken, but they've got the goal, they've got themselves ahead against a St Johnstone side who had a game plan of getting 10 men behind the ball and making it very difficult, but they kept probing and they got their rewards near the end of the half, and it makes his team talk, you know, a lot easier getting into this second half, and you'd expect more of the same in this second half.
I think he'll be looking for just a little bit more mark in the final third with his passing, a little bit sharper, a little bit crisper, because when you're up against the low block that St Johnstone are putting there with all the players back, you've got to be right on the money. That goal comes at a perfect time for them. Really sickening for Callum Davison. Callum Davison's we've all been, you know, on that touchline, 2-3 minutes to go, and you've got that half-time team talk in your head, and all of a sudden it's taken right out with their own goal. So, but Celtic deserves to be in half-time leading.
Yeah, Andrew McLean, we can obviously see on the television pictures, but you're there. Is it Matt O'Reilly mostly doing the Callum McGregor role in his absence?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because there was a lot of talk obviously about who would occupy that role. I think when people saw the team as well, they thought it would either be, as you say, a double pivot, or it would be Rio Hatate in that role, but it is Matt O'Reilly that's sitting, you know, the deeper of the three midfielders, and it does mean that Sead Haksabanovic, who, you know, we've seen as a winger so far from his time at Celtic, is occupying, you know, one of those midfield roles alongside Rio Hatate as well. It's interesting because Matt O'Reilly's obviously a very different player from Callum McGregor. You think of Callum McGregor sort of picking up the ball and driving. Matt O'Reilly maybe doesn't do that as much, but we have seen a bit of it. He was involved in the goal as well. He played a pass out wide to I think it was Anthony Ralston, who then played it onto Hatate, and the ball then worked into the box there. So certainly a different type of player from Callum McGregor, but it's a good sort of exercise for Ange Postecoglou to see exactly, you know, what Matt O'Reilly can do in that position going forward, because it will be a long time without Callum McGregor in the team.
Absolutely. So at the break then, it's St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1, and Andy Considine own goal separates the sides. The second half is coming up next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel, and of course Hugh Keevins are in the studio. Andrew McLean is our man at McDiarmid Park, keeping an eye on St Johnstone against Celtic. We're at the break. The away side lead by 1, Andy Considine own goal to 0. You can't say it hadn't been coming, Hugh. We've had the chance to look back on some of the action, and Leila Bada would have been the big chance missed early on, certainly.
Yeah, it's been a problem for Celtic for weeks, and Ange Postecoglou has mentioned it, and everyone can see it for themselves. But I think the overriding impression from the first 45 minutes is that Celtic have played well, minus Callum McGregor.
He's on tonight.
You wouldn't notice he wasn't there, to be fair. And that they've all risen to the challenge, to the gauntlet that I mentioned in the introduction to the programme that has been thrown down by Ange Postecoglou. Challenge yourselves.
Oh, hold on a minute. What's happened here? I didn't need it in the first half, but I thought since it was half time I would just log on to my computer here in the studio. I didn't need it. First half we were just talking through the action. I thought I would log on to my computer, and someone has obviously got onto my computer when I was unaware, because look at my new wallpaper. Who's done that to me? What a sight that is at lunchtime.
Oh, look at that.
To be fair, it could have been worse. They could have done something a lot worse to me, but it's a picture of Gordon Dalziel with the League Cup trophy back in 1994.
The skipper's armband.
The thing is, that's the type of thing you would do, but you wouldn't know how to do that on the computer.
No.
Did you put someone up to that?
I've no idea.
That.
No, listen, my days of that are past.
Did you
I live in the future, not the past.
Did you like talking to the press when you were immediately after a game?
No.
Because I did the on the pitch interviews after that game for Super Scoreboard, and I'll never forget Jimmy Nicholl, your manager. But I don't remember you being anywhere near.
Nah, I don't particularly like you at that time.
He had his suit on 3 minutes after the game and away.
I was Jackie Oates. I was up at the sponsors party.
Anyway, enough about that game. Goodness knows how many years ago. What about this one that's taking place this afternoon?
I think Postecoglou will be happy with the possession. A few chances there as well. But I did stress that he'll be saying to them, look, they're obviously playing the very low block. They're getting people, but we've got to move the ball a wee bit quicker, a wee bit sharper, cut them open. The second goal opens up for how many Celtic want, but there's still always that threat there, because well switched off, one ball over the top. Nicky Clark usually in another day would probably put that over Joe Hart and cause a bit of problems, so he's got to be concentrating on that. But so far I think Celtic have been total control, and I've got to say it's an opportunity. You keep going on about McGregor's and stuff like that, but an opportunity for other players. Burnaby down the left hand side I think's been excellent.
I get the point. Joe Hart is off his line. I wonder if you're being a bit harsh on Nicky Clark. Surely any time you get the ball there, although the goalkeeper might be off his line, you're still 35-40 yards out. It's still always a low percentage shot, is it not?
I'm not giving Nicky Clark criticism, Gordon. I think I said on when it happened live that I thought it was a right decision. I thought it was a very good decision. I think Nicky Clark will be disappointed he didn't really ask more questions of Joe Hart, because the thing is, it's a compliment, because I think he's got it in his locker.
Andrew McLean, it doesn't strike you from here as the type of game that either manager would rush into a half-time change, because Celtic, it's not like they're lacking anything as such, and for St Johnstone they'll probably take just hanging on in there, or is there anything else afoot?
No, I don't think there'll be any changes at the break at the moment, because both sets of substitutes were out warming up. Every single substitute, including two Celtic goalkeepers that are on the bench today. That's maybe a slight nod to the fact that they've got a few injuries, but obviously still have a very strong squad. Stevie May just getting a bit of a talking to from one of the St Johnstone coaches at the moment, but he's still out there warming up, so I can't imagine that will be imminent.
It's been a week talking about golf and finances and ability, and when you can have a go and when you don't have a go, and whether it allows you to hang in the game, whatever. In the subject of today specifically, can St Johnstone afford to have a bit more of a go in the second half? Have they got it within them?
Well, they've lost the game as things stand, so you can't get anything, draw or the win that would be a sensation. You can't get any of that unless you try something.
Or is the priority still just to stay at one? Make sure it's not two, and then maybe you get a set piece. Maybe you get a mistake.
I think that's the way the game will go, Gordon. I think he'll just stick to his guns here. The Celtic, when you look at the first half, he got in behind them 3 times. Burnaby's cut back, then there was Jota to Abada who blazed over, and then they get the goal. I think that's a decent return, for the way they play that low ball. I think it's okay. Celtic's not cutting them open every single time, so I think he'll try and hang in and maybe make a change.
You're not having that, Hugh, are you? You'd like a bit more attacking minded.
I just think, if you prioritise a 1-0 defeat, what are you in this business for?
No, I don't necessarily mean take that at full time, but your best chance of getting anything, I wonder if he thinks just keep frustrating for now, and then maybe you get your one.
He ain't going to change, Gordon.
I know that we go on domestically and in terms of European football about budgets and the gulf in finance. Omonia Nicosia at half time were 1-up against Manchester United midweek, and I know it finished 3-2, but they gave it, Neil Lennon's side gave it their best shot. And I look at the group stages so far, and I see Club Brugge from Belgium with 3 wins out of 3. Now, you know, I don't know what their budget would be like.
I think it's not bad, to be fair.
Yeah, but you know, it's not in the class of Maeda coming on.
Andrew McLean, it does look like there will be a change after all that. What are you seeing?
Yeah, there will be a change. It's Dyson Maeda that's actually come on for Celtic, and Jota has come off, so you wonder whether that's maybe with an eye on their midweek game. Of course, they've got a Champions League game on Tuesday, or possibly Ange Postecoglou is just thinking about a change at the moment, and he feels that's best for the game. He'll certainly hope that Celtic can get another couple of goals and maybe make some more changes ahead of that game on Tuesday. St Johnstone have had other ideas, though. I thought they did defend pretty well on the whole in the first half. Trey Wright and James Brown have done well up against the Celtic wingers. Callum Davidson saying in the build-up to this game, though, you know, he wanted to keep the score down for as long as possible, see if they can nick something late on. In that case, they can't really afford to concede again, can they? They only had that one chance, which was that Nicky Clark lob. You wouldn't say Celtic peppered the St Johnstone goal, but they've had all of the ball. Leila Bada missed a great chance, and Postecoglou keeps going on about being clinical as well. He'll hope they can create a bit more in this half. He'll hope they can take those chances across the next 45 minutes, or will Celtic collapse like the Perspex glass in Subway? We'll see.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
It's as good a sign off as we'll get all afternoon. I'm happy with that.
I just wonder where he's going.
Yeah, that's his best one.
Yeah.
That's his best one since
he's
that
learning
was
this
great.
guy. Well done. I like that. Not bad at all. Hugh, we are a very quick to judge bunch, and fans, you know, do it as well.
Don't I know it?
Would it be fair to say Dyson Maeda could maybe do with a goal or a really positive contribution this afternoon?
Yeah, everyone now has the impression that Dyson Maeda is the teacher's pet. Ange Postecoglou always favours Maeda, and his contribution has diminished. I'm not saying he's a bad player, far from it, and he has been excellent for Celtic, but his contribution of late has not been as great as it once was. So yes, you're absolutely right, he could do with giving some more and producing some more in terms of goals.
I think he's a certain threat with his pace, Hugh, and obviously with St Johnstone defending the way they're defending, balls in behind, he'll cause a lot of problems. I think it's just going back to that squad rotation quote. He's looked at Jota, yeah, off you come, we're 1-0 up, doesn't look like they're, you know, in any trouble at all. And you bring on Maeda, who I think's a great replacement for him, gives him 45 minutes. Looking forward to Tuesday.
You trying to say if this was 0-0, that change wouldn't have been made at the break?
I think if it was 1-0 to St Johnstone, it wouldn't have been made at the break. Look, I think he's got confidence in all these players, Postecoglou. I think he's got
maybe Jota does have a knock. Who are we to know?
And I think he's got one eye, quite rightly so, midweek Champions League. Look, unless there's a real major turnaround, St Johnstone ain't going to win this game.
Here comes St Johnstone.
2-1 Saints
down the left hand side for them. I'll tell you what, it's a nice little intricate pass, and they have won themselves a corner off Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Well, for me, that's a very positive sign for the game, that St Johnstone have come out on the front foot, and I'm not saying, well, we'll see how it goes, you know, just continue to let Celtic have 81% of the possession.
And it looks like actually Hatate's dropped in next to Riley
to go 4-2-3-1.
Go more of a 4-2-3-1 as the corner comes in. It's easily dealt with by Celtic, and there goes Dyson Maeda. But what a wonderful slide it is from the St Johnstone player. It's a shame the cross wasn't as good as the tackle, because it's young Max. I think anyone would like to see him do well for own personal reasons, but he's great tackle and fires the ball straight out of play.
Got a bit overexcited. The tackle was terrific on Maeda, and then he put it on the Perth road to Dundee.
He needed to make it as well because Maeda nicks
He's
that.
away, yeah.
He's
He's away,
away, yeah, and it wide open for them.
Oh, maybe. But there we are. Hatate gets back to help out his pal O'Reilly, who almost lost it. And now this is the problem for St Johnstone, because you open up even a tiny bit and Celtic come away and they're going to have a free kick right in the edge of the box. And I wonder if Liam Gordon goes into the book for that one.
Maeda gets out of jail a little bit there. I don't know why he's running in there. He's got to keep his width. Haksabanovic is probably looking to feed him there. He's run right by him to the side there. He's not getting on that. But this is a dangerous area. Is it one of those ones too near?
No, it's a little bit wide as well, isn't it?
I think they like them wide. They can take them either post.
Right, okay.
It's just
What does that mean?
well, they can go a curler to the top left or whip it into the right.
I wonder who'll take it.
Spoken like a man who, even at his pomp, couldn't reach the goal line from the 18
No,
yard box.
I couldn't score from there. I couldn't score from there. And I admit that.
Well, a chance for Haksabanovic to
Put
put his marker down. I don't think Celtic have a recognised regular scorer from free kick positions.
He might be. You never know. We've never really seen him in this position before.
It is a bit. That is a touch wide. I know what you're saying, but it's not quite the Trent Alexander-Arnold spot, is it? It's
Yeah,
a bit wider.
that's what I was getting there. But I still think
This was my area. I used to put these low and
I've seen
just trundle them into the bottom
I've
corner.
seen the goal in the Dundee derby. I've never seen a free kick since or before then that bounced 4 times before it went in.
Well,
But
if the man lying
play
down
your
behind
strengths.
the wall, you wouldn't have scored.
after all that, it's just a cross and it ends up in the back of the net anyway.
Offside.
Stop that button then, shall we? The offside flag is up. It was Matt O'Reilly's outswinger, a brilliant header, you have to say, from Giacomakis, and we'll get another look at it. Is he off?
Oh, don't know about that.
Yeah, well,
You think so? I don't.
it's not a great camera, let's be honest. He might well just be. There's not much in it.
That's hard to tell because the camera's
Yeah,
kind
they're not
of it's
quite
not
in line.
line.
No.
Yeah, that's hard to tell. Got to say, St Johnstone line, give it credit. It was brave. It stayed. But I just wonder if that camera was in line, it would have showed Giacomakis possibly on set. That's a hard one.
What's the point? Why torture ourselves and go round in circles? Because even when you've got VAR, you see them and you think, oh well, that's off, and then it's not, or vice versa. It's close, Hugh. There's not much we can do about these things.
As all referees used to say, look at the result in the paper in the morning. So
That doesn't help you if you're a manager and you've been undone by a terrible decision.
What do
and
you
lose
think?
your job.
Just look at the paper in the morning.
I see you're sacked.
Find out what your payoff is. But I agree. I'm starting to go with you here. I think St Johnstone are starting to look right. We'll open up a little bit, try and get forward. But I think that's a dangerous ploy just now, because 1, slightly they're still in it. 2, it's dead and finished. It's gone.
You know what's interesting from a Celtic point of view? If it's right that Hatate has dropped back in with O'Reilly, then is it the first real shift we've seen Ange Postecoglou to that 2 at the base of the midfield, slightly more conservative? Not that he needs it in this game by the looks of it, but
maybe then with an eye of what happens going forward, because maybe he feels that one player's not enough to plug the Callum McGregor gap.
maybe not O'Reilly at that as well. Maybe not played that role a lot in his career. I must say, I think he's done well in the first half in terms of constantly wanting on the ball, constantly looking forward. Okay, a few times he's given it away, but you need that drive from that position. I think he's done it well this afternoon to this point.
But Celtic on the front foot.
Here's a
looking
chance
good
here,
now.
Yeah, he's just going to stand up back post.
Oh,
What on earth has happened there? Did Maeda go for some sort of overhead kick and miss the ball?
And I think, is it Haksabanovic has come in?
Giacomakis, I think. At the back
Giacomakis,
post.
I think he's got to. I could be wrong, but I
Just
think he's got
waiting
to
for
leave that.
waiting for the net to bulge.
No, it's not. It's
It
a
gets
bad, is it
stood
not?
up. Yeah, sorry. Oh dear, no.
Oh.
It's Maeda's gone for an overhead kick and missed it. Basically, that's all you need to know. Can he not just head that in a bit behind him? Oh dear.
Well, I think Abada coming onto that needs to make himself loud and clear, and Maeda just gets out the way. Maeda's tried something spectacular. He's going backwards. Abada's coming onto it, and it turns out that Abada kind of turns his back anyway on it. But it's a great opportunity. Well worked from Celtic. Haksabanovic with a great ball, just hung up to the back post.
Head knock. I think it's going to be a yellow card for Max Kucheravi as well. He has indeed been shown the yellow. He's been adjudged to have left one on Rio Hatate.
Knows what he's doing there. He has
So
a look.
where is the line there? You know,
He has a look.
It's
Matt.
the
has a
sort of
look and the
static-
elbows up.
He's trying to hold him off, though, isn't he?
Yeah,
That's why.
he doesn't throw out an arm, but his arm's high.
He's trying to hold him off as he runs in.
Yeah, but it's a booking nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a booking nowadays. We can't argue
Callum
with it.
Davidson clearly doesn't think so, but for me, it's as clear a booking as you'll ever see.
I feel distracted. I've just received a very unexpected message. Right, things you never thought you would read. Afternoon, Gordon. It's from Chris, by the way. He says, I know you always give Gordon Dalziel a hard time for his quotes, but I used one today.
Oh, well done, Chris.
I'm a celebrant and I was conducting a wedding earlier this afternoon. As I waited with an anxious groom, his pal made a joke about the bride not coming, and the groom shrugged it off. I chipped in with DL's "Don't count your chickens until they've crossed the road," which went down well, I have to say. My best regards to the Dazzler.
There you go. I touched some people out there. That's all I'm here for.
Imagine him being involved in a wedding story.
Well, I was going to say, life comes round full circle, doesn't it? Now you are starring in people's wedding, having been through quite a few of your own. So there we go.
I've
Well
never
done for
reached
Chris.
the heights of you. You actually married people. I've never been that.
I'm available for any functions out there.
You can do my next one.
Book of quotes. Gordon's book of quotes. Him marrying.
See if
Could be
you
a
do.
fool.
See if you do go for another one. Can I conduct the ceremony?
100%, and you are all invited.
Wilson's
this time.
the best man.
No, I would just want to sit there in the audience. I wouldn't want to do it.
Audience, what do you think it is? An audience with DL at his wedding?
I could be a page boy.
Oh, it'd be terrible. I'm going to get married just for that.
Oh, the old Mark Wilson special there, eh?
Yeah, I don't know if that's in the Mark Wilson textbook or not, but Matt O'Reilly goes for the low free kick and he hits it off, dies in Maeda and out for a goal kick.
See, I'm a visionary. Matt O'Reilly's obviously looked at my old Dundee United videos.
Yeah,
He's got a
absolutely.
free kick on his left. He tries to go low. Maeda, I don't know what Maeda's thinking there. See, ran across the face of it and actually blocks it. He's just in the wrong place.
He's having a very peculiar time of it, Maeda, since coming on.
He seems to be in like the wrong place quite a
Yeah,
lot, doesn't
yeah.
he? You don't know if that's just an unlucky spell or if it's a bad knack to be in. There's been some sort of collision. Nicky Clark seems in a bit of pain, and there's a Celtic player, Haksabanovic, down as well.
Yeah.
Was it a head knock?
Is it a clash of heads? Haksabanovic
Seems
definitely
that way,
takes
yeah.
one in the head. I don't know about Clark. Clark seems to be in a bit of bother.
St Johnstone have to take the approach that
No, it's two separate things. Haksabanovic is down because Matt O'Reilly's volleyed the ball off his face from a yard away.
Yeah.
Some teammate. And Nicky Clark was down for something prior to that. So
St Johnstone have to take the approach that Dundee United were relegated and Ross County be in the playoff. So they're not going to go down.
I love that because not only does Hugh go early with his like match predictions, he's already got teams relegated.
That
and
is
in the
counting your
playoffs.
chickens before they've crossed the road. Saying something like that. I don't think Callum Davidson will be going along those lines, saying, "Listen, lads, it's fine. These other two are
We're up.
worse than us."
We've survived. Big game that later on though, which I'm sure we'll get to. I mean, Dundee United, Aberdeen, and Livy Ross County. But
Yeah.
for those two at the bottom,
One home, one away.
yeah, needing to get
I
something on the
I
board.
quite like the 6 p.m.
Do you?
idea. Aye,
No.
I
Not
quite
for
like
me.
it. Not every week. I think just every so often. I quite like it.
By all accounts, the ticket sales have been good. Been
Exactly,
really good, and
yeah.
you know that was part of the experiment.
Full day out for
from
people.
From the outset, I just didn't quite get it. I wasn't sure what demographic are you appealing to, because if you're older, if you're like Gordon Dalziel, you just want to go up the road and watch The Masked Dancer, right? So the 6 doesn't do it for you. And if you're like you, by 6 o'clock you really want to be gone out.
Aye. But
So
it's just straight for the game.
who's it good
straight,
for?
Straight to Fat Sam's in Dundee.
I'm
You know,
not thinking about the players. I would hated to have to wait till 6 o'clock.
Aye.
Because the way
You're
I
right.
think is, if it was a 3 o'clock kick off, I'd be finished by now.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
You actually didn't really like football, do you?
Not particularly, no. No, I didn't like playing it, no.
No.
Friday nights were the best games, weren't they? Like,
Aye, you get full
Inverness
weekend.
Partick. You know, that's you full weekend. Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday off.
Good win last night
Yeah, surprising. You know, the Queen's Park
for
dropped
the
points
Inverness Jags.
in the week, and the Glasgow Jags have dropped all 3. So Ian McCall was on a roll. Thistle was scoring freely, and it all went awry in the Highlands.
One of my young coaches with the charity was with him last night. He's a Partick Thistle fan. Goes to every game. Obviously couldn't make Inverness. I said, "What do you think about this season?" "Oh, we're looking well," he said, and I'm glad. I think we'll do it this season. I think the night we'll beat I switched on. I thought
I watched a bit of it.
You enjoy it?
No, I must say
That's it. I like how you talk the game up. That's
no,
great.
I don't like the stadium. I've never liked.
You've got this thing about Inverness, though. It's a sort of
it's
personal
just not
bias.
my favourite. I actually fancied Partick to get a result, but they've been down to 10 men. But a good result for Inverness.
Right, I'll start giving you some team news from the other games very soon. I know you Rangers fans will be on your way to Ibrox as well. Somehow the ball does stay out. Celtic with the crossing and the knock back across the face. I think Hatate was there, but actually it was a bit behind him, so I don't think he could divert it into the net. But he's into and it's just 1 inch too much on it.
Fascinating the way the game's poised. We're almost at the hour mark. Celtic continuing to miss chances. They're 1 up, but continuing to miss chances. St Johnstone looking a bit more lively. You can't draw any hard and fast conclusions yet.
You had them relegated. It was Dundee United.
Dundee
You had
United.
relegated. Sorry, you had them surviving 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, they are surviving. But they're coming into this game. It's a fascinating game now.
As you say, though, Gordon, I actually wonder if that just opens up more for Celtic. Sometimes you find that St Johnstone they look a bit braver, but they've also not done anything with the ball yet, and they are now leaving more space for Celtic.
That is a massive problem.
And here comes Abada crossed in. Max,
that is the difference.
Chiravi takes it away.
Now looking at Abada running at Considine rather than Brown matching him up, and that's a problem because O'Reilly just picked that ball easy to Abada, and all the space
if you're
in the world.
St Johnstone, you don't want that. But to be fair, if you're Ange, you don't want that either, because it goes straight back.
I'm surprised they've gone so early. I thought it would have been a game plan 70-75 and then tried to throw players forward. I think this plays right into Celtic's hands. I think they've got the players that can drop into these spaces. As Mark says there, you've got Abada going at Considine. That's one you don't want to see. So they just need to be careful. Yes, I'm with you. I think you've got to sometimes open up a little bit to try and get back in the game, but I think you've got to do it at the right times.
Stevie May is going to come on, so maybe does look like St Johnstone fancy this. They think we've reached an hour, there's only 1 goal in it. He's been in decent form, scored last week.
Why would you not play him today? That's the
Probably
thing.
for this exact reason. You just stay in it and then try and unleash.
I'm always a believer that you play your best players and those that are on form. Now last week at Tannadice, by all reports, he was outstanding, the outstanding player on the pitch. He should have been in my team of the week, and maybe he should have been. He had a good shout. So why would you not play him in a game like this? He's physical, he's a willing runner, and he's on form. Strange decision, unless he's carrying a knock.
Wasted one from Celtic. Hatate looks to go long for his countryman.
Who's that down?
Nicky Clark, is it?
No.
Yeah, I think it is Nicky Clark down holding his knee. That looks like a sore one, because I'm not sure there was too much in the way of contact. We'll see it again. I think he does actually. Take that back. It looks like the old clash of knees.
No, that's good experienced striker play, because you look over and you think, I'm getting subbed,
So pretend I'm injured.
I'm getting down. That's the ones I used to. Well, I never got subbed.
I think he's went on kneecap to kneecap with Cameron Carter Vickers. Those are sore, aren't they?
Yeah, particularly for me. I mean, anything like that, my afternoon was over. That could have been the most innocuous.
Is that right?
Yeah. What are you laughing at? I'm not even joking.
The guy's had 20 knee ops. What do you expect?
No cartilage, Wilson.
That was sore.
A couple of changes, 3 I think in total for St Johnstone, and it looks a very attacking trio. You've got Conor McLennan, of course you'll remember him from his Aberdeen days. Stevie May and Ali Crawford. So bit of creativity in Crawford, bit of pace in McLennan, and a lively front man in Stevie May as well. So maybe St Johnstone do fancy this.
I think they do now.
Yeah.
I think he's been listening to you, Shug. I think he's taking advice from Mr. Keevins there.
I mean, at the end of the day,
As you should.
complimented Celtic first half on being the dominant team. The irony being they didn't score their own goal. It was an own goal literally from Dougie Considine, Andy Considine rather. I'm talking about his dad now. But Celtic have lost their way, and the chance taking has been poor, almost eccentric in the case of Dyson Maeda. And Callum Davidson is thinking we could get some joy here.
There's still nothing to suggest that they're going to get any joy yet, Mark. It might be the case.
We are What,
Was
62
the
minutes
goalkeeper's
in?
going to help them out?
You don't often see that.
Matthews is just out of his hands, just cleared one right at Giakoumakis, who picks up, but then the Celtic are wasteful as well.
I was going to say we're
compliment.
62, 63 minutes in. Has Joe Hart touched the ball with his hands yet?
Don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
No.
So I think Celtic have created a few chances. I don't agree with Celtic have lost their way in this half. I think Ralston went down there, Giakoumakis done well at the back post. We've seen another couple of opportunities. They've had a goal ruled out for offside. I don't think they've lost their way. I think St Johnstone have opened up a bit. I think they've made changes, but I can't remember Carter Vickers or Welsh coming under any pressure.
Great ball.
Celtic through on goal, great save. The St Johnstone players were waiting for a flag to go up, it didn't come, and it was Abada who raced through the middle.
Yeah.
Haksabanovic did brilliantly to slip him in, and Celtic really should be more in front here. It was 1-on-1 in the end. Matthews has looked a bit ropey at times in the St Johnstone goal, and yet he was out quick to make a smart stop.
Well, he had a bad mistake there when he kicked out to Giakoumakis, but he's certainly made up for it there. He's kept his team in this game so far. Great play with Celtic, a great ball through. I think Abada will be disappointed.
That's a huge chance, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got
huge
to score.
chance.
You've
It's
got
the
to score him.
Story of the day for Celtic, chance after chance, and indeed the story of the last few weeks for Celtic. Chances after chances, and you've got to score with that.
Haksabanovic does great, Mark. He strides forward, shows good strength, picks the pass.
Yeah,
but the finish didn't match from Abada.
Just a wee bit of lack of composure. I think he's just hoping to get the shot off instead of directing it anywhere, because it seems quite a simple finish. He takes out his left. I think he just slots it in that side, hits it right at the goalkeeper. But it's a huge chance at an important time of the game. You score that, done and dusted.
Here
make as
comes
many subs
Celtic
as you want.
again. St Johnstone were going to break, but Celtic swarmed over them, and they're in again here. But takes an extra touch. It's another good low save.
He's never beaten the goalkeeper with that.
No.
Why has he
Never.
not hit that first time?
Abada, he looks a little
I
bit
think
short of
that's-
confidence in front of goal here.
Going to say that, Gordon. I think that's exactly what it is there, because a player high in confidence, when Hatate rolls you in, it's on your right foot, let it come across you, and you hit that first time.
Snatches at it in the end. Anyway, Celtic really knocking the door. Definitely should be more than one, but they're not, and that's all that matters. And St Johnstone might even get a little bit of inspiration from that as the corner comes in, and they do clear it. One of the subs, Stevie May, tries to come away.
Well, they just can't get out, and Celtic are swarming all over them. So again, it's a good game to watch.
I think Hatate, the days went a wee bit overlooked, has been outstanding. Early on in the first half, he's close control and bring players into it, been fantastic. He's strolled it and then he creates that chance there. I think he's been really good. I think he's going to be important over the next couple of weeks with McGregor out. He's got to be that energy and creativity.
Remy Matthews, the St Johnstone keepers, had a busy old spell there. He had a bad mistake kicking the ball at Giakoumakis. A really smart stop from Abada, and then two from Abada really. Dyson Maeda shows great energy to get back, but he's not quite done the complete job because Bernabe gives it away, and Ali Crawford's just going to try and dink one in for St Johnstone. They do have a man over.
They're certainly getting men forward now. You see that they've got many in the box here, Gordon, about 4 or 5. So they're obviously trying the minute they get up the park to try and get back in the game, but this is where they could get caught out.
Indeed they do. Oh, there goes Leila Bada. He's
Take
got
him on,
all
you've
the
got
pitch
to.
to run into. He's got Liam Gordon. It's a great sliding
tackle.
challenge. Brilliant tackle from the St Johnstone skipper, and it's
that?
a strange pass.
He's been terrible at that today.
Giakoumakis,
Oh, terrible.
He's forced a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's waited. I don't know if he's just frustrated this afternoon.
Not really his game either, that
I was
is
going
it?
to
No.
say, you need to play to your strengths here, and that is not one of your strengths. If that's Jota or somebody else, yes, but he's trying to chip a almost impossible pass through when he had men coming up on his left hand side. He just rolls Haksabanovic or Hatate in. But it's a great opportunity, by the way. Gordon does
Brilliant.
I'm actually
amazing.
not sure it is Gordon. I think it's maybe Mitchell.
Is it Mitchell gets across because it's
Triple
it's wide open.
substitution for Celtic.
Triple change for Celtic. James Forrest, Aaron Moy, Oliver Abelgard all set to come on, but still only 1-0.
James Forrest likes McDiarmid Park, always has done.
Didn't he score 4 there once?
He'll, at the back of his mind, he's thinking, I normally do well here, but it's finally poised. O'Reilly off, maybe. I don't think that Ange Postecoglou can think Leipzig,
Well, he is though, obviously, isn't he?
but I mean, he's not out the woods here yet.
No, but he is obviously thinking about Leipzig.
Yeah. But you know,
I mean, taking Jota off at half time.
Abada looking frustrated as he comes off.
No wonder. Yeah, when you think his chance the first half and the other two, it's fell his way. It has been a frustrating afternoon for him. He's going to be important as well for Celtic over the coming weeks. Missed midweek.
Well, the last quarter of the game now. He's taking the big hitters off and put on the not so big hitters.
Yeah, it's now a much changed Celtic team.
Yeah.
If you like, Gordon, if you go through, you know, who would be, and there we are, and there's Stevie May. He's in for St Johnstone, and Joe Hart has
What a save!
made the save. And
Onto
that's
the post.
biggest chance St Johnstone have had. I think 68.5 gone. We think that's the first time Joe Hart's touched the ball with his gloves at all, I think. And he's touched it off the post.
We said about Abada's got to score. See, for me, Stevie May's got to put that in the back of it. Now, I will credit
on
Joe
that
Hart.
angle.
Oh, all day.
I don't think he catches it properly.
No, he
does
doesn't. But he's got to score that. He's got to score that.
Oh, I think maybe it's been a bit harsh here. It's a
I
wee
think
bit
on the
wide.
angle.
On the angle.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it's a great touch.
Does well,
with Hart.
keeps it down,
He's
gets
not,
it
he's not
target,
hit it
scuffs
right.
it,
He
but
scuffs it, but
It's a
I don't think
terrific
that's
save.
a got to score.
No,
I think-
I'm with you, Gordon. I don't think he's got to score.
You didn't set your standards high as a
It's the
centre
angle,
forward.
though. It's the angle.
You've got to put your boot through that.
I think
and
I'm
finish
not getting full connection.
it. Gives Hart the save.
No, but I still think it makes it maybe a wee bit more difficult for Hart, but he still gets a great touch on it. But what an opportunity. How easy was that for St Johnstone? One ball over the top. Was it Carter Vickers that was maybe caught out that time?
Yeah, well, as we were in the middle of saying when that chance came around, Gordon, if you go through the team, both fullbacks, Ralston and Bernabe, Welsh, pretty much the full midfield, and Giakoumakis, Forrest, none of these really are in Celtic's starting 11, so this is a proper rotation job now for Ange Postecoglou.
This is a sort of a team that after a hard week that, you know, you go to St Mirren for instance where they lost their 3 points, and that's the sort of team that would pitch out. But he has faith in his players, and they're decent players. They're not the strongest side, of course they're not, but they certainly got a fright there. I think if you're St Johnstone, are you going to get a better chance maybe here?
Maybe now.
Yeah, they're starting to cause problems, St Johnstone. I think Celtic will just need to up their game a little bit here, because I think Callum Davison's substitutions have been effective.
Positive.
Yeah.
And if you're Ange Postecoglou, though, you'll know that even just take a couple of those chances, the game's completely out of sight, and that anxiety can't creep in.
And that must be the frustrating thing. He's gone through a period in his Celtic managerial career that he's not experienced before, creating loads of chances but struggling to put them away. Couldn't have said that when he came in his first season.
Well, corner to St Johnstone. Oh no, it's a throw in, sorry, a long throw, just at everyone's back like it's a corner.
The referee moving him a yard back like it's going to make any difference.
The ball in play time won't be particularly high, I don't think, because we're not in too much of a rush, and I think that's going to be a foul Celtic's way.
It's good play from Giakoumakis because he gets Gordon, he's got a hold his shirt. Gordon's telling the ref, as a defender there's not much you can do, but striker play.
Well, Giakoumakis is holding him as well, though, isn't he? Yeah. That's what he's complaining at.
6 and half a dozen there.
Yeah. James Forrest got 10 goals against St Johnstone, more than any other opponent that he's faced in his Celtic career. So can he add another one?
I think Postecoglou will be desperate for him to add another one, get this game to bed, because St Johnstone are starting to grow in with a little bit of confidence. The substitutions have given them a little spark, so they just need that second goal for a comfort blanket.
Celtic, they put pressure on themselves because of the lack of chance taking. You know, they should be putting teams out of sight. Motherwell last Saturday was a perfect example. Today, another example of the same problem, that they're putting themselves under pressure by not scoring. They're only 1-0 up because of a known goal.
Yeah, I mean, this game's close now, Mark, but it shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be, because even the chances Celtic have created in this second half alone, it should be out of sight. Look, you always leave the game in a knife edge. The longer it goes and you're only 1 up, and they get a wee sniff like they did through Stevie May, they get that wee bit of confidence and they think, well, they're not unbreakable, we can get through them.
Good play though from Abel Gard as he tries his audition to be Callum McGregor's successor. It was positive, took a nice touch out his feet, strode forward, played a forward pass, and Celtic eventually get a free kick, as they mostly do, take it quickly, but it's a bit of a wasted one in the end.
first real sight extended period of Haksabanovic, and I think he's done well in bits today. You know, takes up good positions, attracts players to him. He's brave in the ball as well. You know, I'd like to see a lot more of him. I think he probably will now. You know, he's just still feeling his way into that Celtic side.
Kyogo today, is he going to get a spell in place of Giakoumakis at some point?
I think he might be
20
kept.
to go.
I think he might be kept on the bench today.
Yeah, I think so. I think he would have been on the pitch by now.
If St Johnstone equalise, he'd be on a flash.
Absolutely. We're at that stage of the afternoon where we're starting to get team news from around the other grounds. I think we can go and get some teams from Ibrox. Rangers against St Mirren. Gabriel?
Yes, Gordon, just got the teams here in Govan. Rangers looking to cut the gap to 2 points again. Of course, that's if Celtic hold on, and they're aiming to bounce back from another midweek defeat in the Champions League. They've lost 3 out of 3 so far. I spoke to Giovanni van Bronckhorst yesterday. He says his team are improving and claims their experiences in Europe will help them domestically. They're not in the best of form. They've only won 2 of their last 6, although they were both in the league. The Dutchman has made 5 changes from Tuesday's match, with Kent, Morelos, Davis, Tillman and King all dropping to the bench. There's a change of formation as well as he reverts to his favoured 4-3-3. Here is the lineup for Rangers this afternoon against St Mirren. Alan McGregor is in goal, a back 4 of captain James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Borna Barisic. A midfield 3 of John Lundstrom, Ryan Jack and Scott Arfield. Fashion Jr. is joined by Rabbi Matondo on the wings, with Antonio Cholak through the middle. The substitutes are McLaughlin, Ridvan, Kent, Kamara, Sands, Morelos, Wright, King and Tillman. Well, what about St Mirren? Well, they've made 2 changes from their 2-1 win over Livingston last week. Both of them are up top. Younger is suspended and Kilty drops to the bench. Main and Grieve come in. Their 11 is as follows: Trevor Carson in goal, a back 4 of Marcus Fraser, Declan Gallagher, Charles Dunn and Scott Tanzer. Alex Gogic will be behind Ethan Erdogan and Mark O'Hara in midfield, with Keanu Bacchus, Curtis Main and Alex Grieve up top. Uminski, Shaughnessy, Kenny, Tate, Flynn, Reid, Taylor, Henderson, Kilty are the 9 subs. And as when I was speaking to Van Bronckhorst yesterday, he was full of praise for St Mirren, and you can understand why. They're 3rd in the league, just 1 place below the Gers and 4 points behind them, and you would say they probably have been the outstanding team in the division so far outside the old firm. Of course, they've won 5 of their last 6, but Rangers have won the last 5 meetings between these 2 sides. They'll need to keep that record up if they want to keep Celtic in their sights.
Well, headline news from that: Ryan Kent dropped. We don't see that very often, Hugh Keevins.
Well, I said to you on Super Scoreboard last night that what Giovanni van Bronckhorst had to say about Ryan Kent was a public kick up the backside. It worked when he did it with Alfredo Morelos earlier in the season. He came back a different man, and he needs to get more. Rangers paid £7 million for Ryan Kent. All I keep hearing is he's got this in his locker and that in his locker, and all I keep saying in return is, when's he going to open the locker?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. It's a statement to give opportunities. There's Sakala, for instance. We thought he was well out the picture, wasn't getting used. Come on at Anfield, I thought he looked bright. Batondo, I thought that was the difference. Bright, sharp, pace, trying to get in behind. It's a very interesting team. Rangers have got good pace. Cholak, the man to lead the line, he'll be looking for more goals. We know how dangerous he is. That midfield, Lundstrom and Jack will sit there, and Arfield will try and support, but I think it's still a very strong Rangers side.
Mark, what jumps out for you?
Well, obviously the change of front 3. I think it's the right call. I really do. I think when you've got Kent playing week in, week out the way he is, then you sometimes need to take him out. And you're seeing Matondo come on, make a difference, in Sakala for those brief glimpses, and maybe they deserve a chance. And leading the line, Cholak, how could you have left him out?
But they can't be impact. They've got to get away from this impact player. Every time I see Matondo and Sakala, when they come on, they go, oh, they've made a difference. You've got to do that for the 90 minutes. This is a big ask for him this afternoon. Quite
clear though that Giovanni van Bronckhorst has full faith in Antonio Cholak scoring domestic goals, but maybe thinks Morelos is a better option in some of those Champions League games.
Well, obviously because Napoli and Liverpool. I think Cholak will be really disappointed with that, but I think he's got to prove to the manager, look, you've got to put trust in me when it comes to the big games. He pops a couple in this afternoon, and it will. St Mirren in good form, let's give them credit, but if he pops a couple in this afternoon, see if I wasn't playing against Liverpool midweek, I'd be chatting his door.
And look, it's a change of shape, so these things happen, but the only outfield player to get past marks according to all of our callers was Leon King. He has to. Is that just par for the course? If you're a young player, you're not maybe expecting to stay in all the time. They have gone back to the back four.
Yeah, well, if Davies is it and King's in, then we're going, oh, well, we doesn't fancy Davies. Like we said that Davies had been brought up here to be the number one centre half alongside Goldson, and that's the way it's panning out. King did very little wrong the other night. It's been, and he will be.
It's been like that for years, Mark. I even get back. I played one Saturday against Aberdeen, sub the next Saturday with the first team, in the reserves the next Saturday, sub with the reserves, and didn't even get in the reserves within the space of and that's true, within the space of 5 weeks.
I think that's more of an indictment on you than the
I thought the manager should have went then.
But anyway, that's your Rangers team. Send us a tweet, by the way. Let us know what you make of that. Is that the team you would have picked? Is it about time Ryan Kent took a spell on the subs bench for games like this? Do you think Sakala and Matondo can bring a bit of firepower? Cholak preferred to Morelos. Is that the right call, or would you have played him again to get him further up to speed ahead of midweek? Back to the back four, no Leon King. Anything else that stands out for you, send us a tweet at Clyde SSB.
The longer this game goes on in Perth and Celtic don't get the second goal, they are running the risk of dropping 2 points, because it's just not happening in front of goal for them.
It's funny, the psychology, isn't it? Because if you're being honest and rational about everything, Celtic look the most likely to score.
Here's their chance.
But while it stays 1-2,
of course,
you end up building this imaginary case for St Johnstone.
Yeah, but to go back to the age-old cliche, it only takes 5 seconds, and the 10 minutes of regulation time to go. Aaron Moy has squandered another chance. Celtic have a corner. If they get the second goal, game, set, match. But the longer it goes on and they don't get the second goal, danger is possible.
Yeah, lots of chances for Celtic. Aaron Moy, the latest. He then takes the corner, and it's not a good one. It is still with a green and white jersey. I think there's going to be an advantage played by the ref, otherwise Haksabanovic would have been given a foul there.
Well, that was another glaring opportunity for me from Celtic. I think they worked out brilliantly, and Moy, made that. He made his way into the box, left hand side, so on his left foot. He cuts it back to, I don't know who he even sees here, but the goal is glaring at you. Have a go.
We need to celebrate the quirks that make Scottish football what it is. There's a bit of drama at the Tony Macaroni Arena, and the one man you want there on the ground, keeping a calm head, bringing us all the facts, it's Fraser Wishart. What's going on?
There seems to be a wee problem, Gordon, with the height of the bar, and David Martindale, as he does everything around here. So he's got a game in about an hour's time. He's done his team talk and he's out with planks of wood. They're trying to move one of the posts. The posts are now inserted, especially into the artificial pitches. With my dodgy eyesight, well, I can see things far away but not close to me. It does look a wee bit of a dip in the bar.
It is. You sent the picture, right? There's like the old Saturday morning thing. I went and watched some amateur football this morning. The bar is bent. There's a dip in the middle. Based on that picture I can see, there cannot be another top flight league anywhere in the world, Fraser, where the manager of the team is out trying to fix the crossbar.
Well, David does everything. I mean, he's managed the team, and even when Kenny Miller's managed the team, as we know, he actually ran the club as well. And I've seen David out here with his drill, doing things in the gym and putting things up as well. So he is hands-on at this football club, and he's shaking his head as he walks over. So he's clearly thinking, what is going on? But there does seem to be just a wee dip. I mean, we're a bit away, obviously. But I don't know what you do here. Do you try and bend it back into place, or what do you do?
Like, I'm not great. I'm no engineer, but I just don't know what's the plank of wood for. I'm looking at this picture. What's that trying to achieve?
Well, there's a couple of planks of wood in the ground, and then they've put a plank of wood vertically under the bar. I don't know whether they were trying to dump it up and stretch the bar. I don't know. As my wife would tell you, don't ask me anything about anything technical. Get my son in, he's an engineer, he might be able to fix it, but it's quite bizarre.
Get Marvin Bartley on the phone right now. I mean, is this not the same venue that the lines were too thick ahead of the Rangers game on the opening weekend of the season?
Somebody was saying that, yeah. Somebody was saying that the lines were too thick as well. And of course, I don't know if the artificial pitch has anything to do with the posts, because the posts are inserted into the ground. bizarre. Well, all I can do is keep you up to speed with this, but I can see David and a whole host of other people standing there, and I think that's Marvin as well. He's got a nice bonnet on, blue bonnet, keeping his head warm. But yeah, I think it's quite bizarre, because if they're trying to fix it now and they can't fix it, what do you do?
You don't start. That's what you do.
I mean, the headwear for Marvin will be after his head knock the other night. Remember, he came in here with his stitches, having clashed it. Like, you might as well give us the teams while you're at it if you've got them, Fraser.
I can give you the teams. The most important thing is a couple of changes for Livy. I've seen in the last couple of weeks. Last couple of games, not been great. Poor last week against St Mirren and got a scrappy 1-0 win against Kilmarnock. So, but only a couple of changes. Penrice drops the bench. Young goes out. I think he's injured. And in come Shinnie and Christian Montano, who's played really well recently, scored a couple of winners. So 4-1-4-1 formation for them. Shamal George is in goal. Nicky Devlin, Aya Obalai, Sean Kelly and Christian Montano at the back. Jason Holt sit in midfield behind quite an attacking four of Dylan Bahambula, Andrew Shinnie, Scott Pittman, and Joel Newbley, with Curtis Guthrie as the striker. Subs Jack Hamilton, even Conor Valoff. Then a whole host of fullbacks: Jack Penrice, Jackson Longridge, Jamie Brandon, Philip Kankar, another centre half, Morgan Boys, and the only two real attacking subs we've got Stephen Kelly and Bruce Anderson for Ross County. They'll of course want to recover really quickly from that hiding they got at home during the week. Only a couple of changes for Malky Mackay. They've got Ross Laidlaw in goals, Keith Watson, Jack Baldwin, Alex Iacoviti and Ben Purrington at the back. Sitting midfield players David Cancola and Jordan Tilson, with Owura Edwards, Ross Callahan, Kazim Olagbe behind the lone striker Jordan White. Jake Eastwood, Dominic Samuel, Jan Danda, Josh Sims, Callum Johnson, Victor Laturi, William Akio, Jordan Hawula and Matt Smith are the subs. And the referee today at Livy, if we do get to start with a straight bar, is Graham Granger.
Bent crossbar, I've heard it all. Celtic continued to attack. Giacomakis' link-up play with Moy was just a bit off, and it's still open and it's still one, so you just never know. But
they are still open to the possibility of the sucker punch. The positivity,
and that's what it would be, wouldn't it? In the sense that we've not seen any real chances for St Johnstone since the Stevie May one, but it just feels something in the air when they go forward.
Exactly. If it finishes this way, you'll reflect on a game that Celtic started very well, but you'll also reflect on a game that they required a known goal to win it, and that the old failing was there. All the chances squandered, leaving themselves and the fans at Perth watching the game through the cracks in their fingers, because it's not decided yet, and there are 5 regulation minutes and time to be added on as well.
You've been in the game a long time. Ever seen a bent crossbar in a top flight match?
No.
Any takers?
That would be truly bizarre. What I don't understand is why it wasn't spotted earlier in the day.
And the manager out to fix it.
Well, that is exceptional.
The Davy Martindale story.
Yeah, pure game that is.
Can you see Pep coming out at the Etihad later with his tool belt on?
Couple of planks of wood. Don't think so.
I cut the grass at Somerset when I was manager.
He's very much in the thick of it, by the way. I'm still getting pictures here.
Jumping the ladder now.
Yeah, he seriously is. No, seriously, he's David Martindale is now.
No.
Yeah, he's fully inserting some sort of plank of wood vertically between the pitch and the crossbar, and I think they're going to crank it up and straighten up the crossbar. Genuinely.
Come on.
Would you look at this, Hugh?
Come on.
He might be
Davey.
He's
apparently Mr. Livingston, right?
Here's a big chance.
We've got a goal. Has the flag stayed down?
Yes,
Has it? Yes, it. No, it's not. Steady on. Celtic thought they'd gone 2-0 up, but the flag goes up again. I feel like one of these was off, one was on, and the wrong person's taking it.
No, two of them
off.
Miles off. Yeah, he's miles off.
Giacomakis might have got the benefit of the doubt because he was closer.
The funny thing is, it's the cleanest taking of a chance that you've seen all afternoon, but he's offside without question.
This isn't. I'm sorry, Hugh. I know you think this is interesting, but this at the crossbar gate has got me. I can't take my eyes off this as David Martindale goes out with the tool belt on and tries to.
I mean, all joking aside, right? There must be staff at Livingston that. No, but I know he does everything.
He built the press room. He built it. The gym. He built the gym behind the.
But aesthetically, it doesn't look good for a game, does it? No. When the manager's out there trying to fix.
Or alternatively, it looks magnificent for our game. Here goes St Johnstone, though, into the box. And this could be the chance. It's over the bar at the back post. Chance. It was set up quite high for Conor McLennan. He still should have done better.
He's blown the chance of getting St Johnstone a share of the points. It was a gift, a gimme, a certainty.
Oh, that's not a gimme.
It is.
It is.
I'm
On the
finishing
angle
it.
with the ball sitting up.
On his left foot. Sorry.
It's a good
Absolute
chance.
gimme.
It's not a gimme.
It is.
Hit the target, you scored.
The hysterics in here, but the
Hit
challenge
the
was
target, you score.
the challenge was quite clearly hitting the target. In case you hadn't
but
noticed,
he's not got a man closing him down.
does he not?
No, watch.
You
Ralston,
just photoshopped him out of the picture.
Ralston puts himself out the game. Look, out the game. Look.
You don't think
All
James
day
Forrest is
long.
closing him down?
Oh, all day.
Come
5
on.
minutes after he hits
Listen,
it.
it's a miss, but a gimme. Let's not get
It's,
hysterical.
it's a huge moment because Celtic should have killed this game off by far in the second half, and they've allowed St Johnstone two looks at their goal. Joe Hart's made a
maybe
incredible
a
save.
Maeda gives the ball away.
Some of Celtic's subs, Mark, have been extremely slack. Maeda would be one. Aaron Moy,
Terrible.
slack's probably not even covering it as Stevie May shoots, parried Joe Hart. Celtic clinging on here at the end.
Why Joe Hart no catch it?
This is
It's hanging on
some
here.
pressure for St Johnstone. Celtic are a bit nervous here.
And this is what we said. If you're psychologically, if you're Callum Davidson, can you just hang on, just keep it at one, and then
Well, that's the game
the
plan.
nerves,
That was
the
game
nerves
plan.
ultimately set in.
And you need to ride your luck along the way, which they have done at times. And game plan, snatch one here. Joe Hart there should have caught
I think
that
he
for
could have
me.
held it.
Should have held it, and Celtic under a bit of pressure. You make a good point about the subs, though. I think they've been awful.
I agree.
Since they've come on.
I agree. I think, and I'll tell you another thing. I think Giakoumakis today has been really sloppy in his passing. But yeah, I think St Johnstone's subs have made a better impact as Forrest here's the man offside.
The offside flags had some good use this afternoon.
St Johnstone backline, though, you got to give them credit as well, because they're always one. There's none dropping off. They're on the line. You need to work at that.
When he brings off, and I said it at the time, when he brings off the big hitters and puts on the not so big hitters.
Oh, hold on though. The assistant's got that one wrong. I think
He's on. Yeah.
James Forrest would have been through on goal. He's got the rest all right. We've praised him earlier, but I think that one's a mistake, certainly.
I'll go back to my point about big hitters and not so big hitters. You are not entitled to plan for RB Leipzig before you're out of the woods in Perth, and they are not out of the woods. We're just waiting to find out how much time is added on. But Celtic, when St Johnstone crossed the halfway line, Celtic have the look of a team who are hanging on for dear life.
Absolutely. You miss chances, you put yourself under pressure. That's been the story of it for Celtic today. I don't think St Johnstone would have really complained if Celtic had 3 or 4 on the board by this point, Gordon, but they don't. You can't keep saying that every week.
Yeah,
5 minutes added on.
Yeah, St Johnstone will be loving the fact that 5 minutes went up on the board.
It suits them more than Celtic, doesn't it?
100%. The way they're going about there, but I think we get back to it, and I think Hugh makes great points with the substitutions. He's got
push.
to leave that there.
Silly push. No, it was a push in the back. It was Baer, I think, at the back post. Didn't need to do it. Puts 2 hands up and pushes. I think was it Ralston.
Yeah.
I think
Let's muff it,
Postecoglou, that'll be the disappointing thing. See when you put on subs that have been sitting there waiting for an opportunity. They're certainly not. They had a 2v1 there. He doesn't really need to do that. But as I go back to Giakoumakis as well, I think he
should Celtic have had a free kick on the edge of the box.
Blatant handball.
I mean, his hand was only about a foot in the air.
Yeah.
And you wonder how the linesman, he's behind him,
Yeah.
20 yards away, 15 yards away, how he doesn't see that. Incredible.
5 minutes added on.
The review of the game from Celtic's perspective now changes completely from half time, where it was all positive. The failings have been there for all to see.
You talk about substitutions. Maeda's not really contributed a lot, has he?
He's
getting in the way.
Poor. He's been very, very poor. I think they lost it when they made as many substitutions.
I think O'Reilly going off so early into the second half. The game just.
But then, I wonder if Ange Postecoglou would defend that by saying that they've still created chances since then, and if you score them, it's the failure to score goals that puts a different complexion on everything else, doesn't it? I mean, when Abada goes through 1-on-1 and misses the chance, if this is 2 or 3, nobody's criticising the performance. Probably.
But the only thing you can flip that and see, in the first half when they had all the big hitters on, apart from Clark's one over the bar, they didn't give up any chances. St Johnstone have had a few chances to score, but I think
they've
it's
also gone for it a bit more in the second
I totally
half.
agree.
Well, there might be a sting in the tail yet, and there's an equaliser in Perth.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
You called it, Hugh Keevins. 5 minutes added on, 2 to go, and Mitchell has poked the ball beneath Joe Hart, and that could be a huge moment in this Scottish Premiership season.
Celtic's season is imploding. This will be 1 win in 6 now for Celtic, and they have only themselves to blame. They had all manner of chances. They can't score at one end and they can't defend at the other end, and that's a lethal cocktail. And they're all over the place there, and it's no more than St Johnstone deserves. Celtic have been living on their nerves, and now the nervous system has collapsed, and all over Ibrox there must be people doing cartwheels.
Mitchell is able, he's a centre half, he's up from the back, he brings it down in the box. There are horns apparently getting beeped all around outside of Ibrox, Gabriel says. Everyone's waiting in their car, they've heard the news, and the horns are getting a good going over, because St Johnstone are level. There's only 2 minutes to go. St Johnstone 1, Celtic 1. Celtic should have been out of sight, and they weren't, and it looks like it's come back to bite them.
Listen, all credit to Hugh. Hugh called that 5-10 minutes ago. I doubted it, but St Johnstone have got to take a lot of credit. Their substitutions have made such an impact. Their game plan, Aaron Moy gets shoved off the ball too easy there. It's too easy, but all credit to St Johnstone, and it looks like they're going to get that valuable point. They'll be delighted with that.
They might get all three.
They don't look in any rush though, Hugh.
No.
That was, if you look at their desire or lack of to take the throw in, Mitchell staying down injured as well.
I look at the goal, and I look at Moy straight away. Now, even before the ball is kicked, Moy is on the wrong side of Mitchell, looking at his number before the ball's touched. When it comes through to him and it falls at Mitchell and he takes it, he then realises, I'm in a terrible position here, and he tries to launch. It's too late, you're 6 yards out.
Now there's lots of slow motion replays going on. I don't know if that's because the TV company's trying to make the case that with VAR, Giacomakis having his shirt pulled by Andy Considine changes anything, but that remains a hypothetical and nothing more, because St Johnstone are level.
We've not got VAR, so you can't complain about that. The things that are going on behind. When Mitchell scores, takes a touch and scores, you can only do something to affect what's happening.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And Celtic have gone up the other end and snatched it as Georgios Giacomakis. The fans go crazy behind that goal in Perth. It was down the left hand side. Dre Wright was injured, he couldn't match the runner. Burnaby got there, flashed one across, and there was Georgios Giacomakis. 95 gone, St Johnstone 1, Celtic 2.
Can I ask you which pundit predicted that scoreline at 12:30?
You're actually saying 2 seconds ago St Johnstone. Well, I'll tell you what, St Johnstone get caught, the injury there, great ball in, what a ball that is. And I've been criticising Jack, I think he's had his poorest game, but what a good striker's finish. He gets across the defender, goalkeeper no chance. Burnaby, I've said for day one, I've really liked the cut of this boy. Great ball in, good finish.
And if the equaliser could have been a big moment in the Premiership season, like we mentioned, well, my goodness, that winner might just well be as well, Hugh.
Well, yeah, it's an astonishing finish to the match. No wonder they're spilling on from the stand behind the goal. Giacomakis, we've said all day, has looked off it and then comes up with the winner. I give Celtic 100% credit for having survived the trauma of losing the equalising goal and finding the presence of mind to go up to the other end of the park and score what should be the winning goal. But I could see the equaliser come, and I did say Celtic would win 2-1, so I am claiming the raffle prize.
You've got to. You've been brilliant today.
How there was horns at Ibrox.
Well, hold on, because here comes St Johnstone. 96.5 minutes on the clock. Can Celtic hack it clear? They do.
And it's
over.
And
there goes the full-time whistle. Andrew McLean.
St Johnstone 1, Celtic 2, the full-time score in Perth, and what an incredible end to this game. Alex Mitchell thought he had grabbed a point for St Johnstone with an injury time goal, but Celtic went up the other end, and Georgios Giacomakis finished from close range to give Celtic all 3 points. Well, Celtic were dominant throughout the game. They missed a golden chance early on. Leila Bada missing the target from the middle of the box around 10 minutes in from Jota's cross. He really should have scored that one. St Johnstone went up the other end. Nicky Clark was unable to execute a lob attempt on Joe Hart. Matt O'Reilly then hit the post from the edge of the box. Sead Haksabanovic also fired straight at Remy Matthews in the St Johnstone goal as the visitors continued to push. Their pressure then paid off before half time. It was an own goal, this one. Lovely passing out on the right hand side. Haksabanovic was then played into the box. It was a low cross to the near post, and Andy Considine could only slice that one into his own net. After the break, Giacomakis had a header ruled out for offside. Then Remy Matthews had to make 2 saves from Leila Bada. First, it was a good opportunity for the winger as well. He was one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but Remy Matthews got down low for that one. Then out of nowhere, St Johnstone almost equalised. Stevie May at a bit of an angle. He was one-on-one with Joe Hart. That one came off the post. Celtic had another ruled out for offside. Then St Johnstone ramped up the pressure late in the game. Conor McLennan fired one over at the back post. Joe Hart was then forced into a diving save a minute later too. But in injury time, it was a deep free kick St Johnstone had. It dropped to Alex Mitchell in the box, and he found the bottom corner. He wheeled away in celebration. The St Johnstone players thought they'd nicked a point right at the death, but that wasn't the end of the action. Celtic went up the other end of the pitch. The cross came in from the left, and inside the 6-yard box there was Giorgos Giacomakis to tap in to send the Celtic fans absolutely wild. They'll go back down the road with 3 points, even though it looked like it wasn't going to be the case with just 2 minutes to go. The full-time score in Perth with the Celtic fans singing, it's St Johnstone 1, Celtic 2.
Wow, what an afternoon, and we're only just getting started. So we know Celtic now do stretch their lead at the top. It looked in serious doubt, but they do stretch their advantage over to Rangers to try and respond, and 3 other fantastic games in the Premiership coming up next as well.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Taggart's Volvo, part of the Lookers family. Click and Drive, the simple contactless way to buy a car.